The TLDR is that after a decade of medical gaslighting, a new doctor ordered an emergency MRI during a routine visit and discovered a mass in my abdomen. I was rushed into surgery within 24 hours. I ended up having an 18-pound benign tumor pressing on my vital organs, and I was about a week away from multiple organ failure. I'm lucky to be alive, and time will tell if I have any lasting organ damage, but right now, everything is fine. How do y'all feel about those little snippets that I give y'all in a full episode at the very beginning? Shock value? Does it snap you in? Does it bring you in? Because God knows I'm not putting closed captions on a 2-3 hour long podcast episode. I can't do it. Especially when my words be all jumbly blah 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 sometimes. And like the program is looking, Da Vinci is looking like, huh? He definitely meant this word. So making captions is just a bitch. It's a bitch. I appreciate all the neural network automatic gobbledygook that goes into this that makes it easier for me. I just got to come in after the fact and make sure everything is correct when it's not. It's not. But welcome to the Intelligent Idiots Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Always on 10. What up, though? I appreciate you for coming, visiting, listening, watching, seeing. I want to sneeze so bad, but we're going to try to hold it in. We are officially on air. I promise I'm going to get more power to this thing, and so you can actually see it. Right? Now, last episode was supposed to be a theme of, oh no, consequences. There are consequences for my actions. But we ended up reading only the very first story, and that very first story had like 17 million updates. So that became the entire episode itself. I was looking down at my audio interface an hour in. I'm like, damn, we still got a lot to go. Hour and a half, damn, we still got a lot to go. I don't know if it was an hour and a half, 2 hours in. I was like, all right, this is going to be the entire episode. The thing ended up being 3 hours long. So you got a singular story as one episode rather than this plethora that I'm about to give you. I still have the same exact theme, right? And we're going to ride with that. I had to add in another story or two because I forgot how to count last week, apparently. I thought I had 8 stories. Apparently, I only had 7. So I had to throw in 2 new puppies I just found, which are both... are they both new? No, only one of them's new. One is a classic. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you heard it. It's an old puppy. But I just want to ride off that theme. All right. I don't even know why. But I'm gonna hit you with a fit check before we dive in. Fit check. Now, this piece right here, right? I got so many Lobo Art Studios tees. This is his only miss as far as the print goes that I have. Right. If y'all didn't know, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Right. Number 1 favorite superhero of all time. I got 2 tickets to see Brand New Day. And outside of this podcast stuff, y'all might not know, but I executive produce on albums for a musician that I manage. And he is doing a Spider-Man Brand New Day soundtrack. That puppy's going to be out most likely on the 31st. On the 31st, we got to go record that puppy tomorrow and the day after and get the mix and mastering done expeditiously. And it's going to be spectacular. So my focus is on that. I'm going to make sure to get y'all this podcast episode, but I'm immediately going to dip out. My plan while I was off this entire time of work, because I should also go back to work tomorrow. I got no calls, no texts saying you're still laid off. So back to hard labor. My plan was to key up a bunch of stuff for my social media channels for the podcast, which I did not do. And if y'all have been out in the Midwest in this, or just Midwest and the East Coast, I hate how Michigan is considered Midwest. None of these states are on on the west. This is like the north. This is the mid north, and Michigan is just the north. Period. We're just the center. It's the damn near, well, not damn near the center. I forget what state it is. The Michigan is not the center of the country, but on a map, it's pretty fucking close. You know. Something wrong with me, dog. I should have focused up before I started this episode. If y'all have been experiencing this bad weather, this horrible, what would you call it? Runoff, fall off, just pure destruction of the air these past couple of days. I'm glad that you have survived, because I've just been huffing and puffing my inhalers, and I've been locked inside the crib too. That's one thing. I wanted to be outside and get active. Could not. Right. I ended up being a little lazy the past couple of days. Could not get out until yesterday. Remember, if you're getting the air quality warning, your AQI is the rating, 1 to 500. Anything over 50 is unhealthy. Anything over 100 starts to lean into the super unhealthy level. 150 and 200, anything past those numbers. You can be the healthiest person. You spend any extended time outside, you are putting your life at risk. You are putting other people's lives at risk, because somebody has to come pick your ass up off the ground when you passed out from a damn ambulance and take you to the hospital. That's opening and closing doors, right? Bringing particulates in and out, bringing soot in and out, right? You do not need to be doing that. And me just sitting here, it's like my chest is a little, I don't know. But you can also do a little bit of finessing. If you have, because I've been seeing TikToks for it. Whoop. This puppy's used, as you can see, used as hell. Furnace filters, right? You take those, put it in front of a fan, right? Set you up a little. I just dropped it on the ground. I know my ground's dusty now. The floor is dusty. That thing has been in there for a couple months. You take the furnace filter, put it in front of a fan. You set up like a little system, tape it on there, depending on what kind of fan you have. Add in. I'm going to show you what I did, matter of fact. I'm going to show you what I did. I took the little itty bitty little fan that I got. Little Amazon box. Is my adjuncts on here? No, it's not on here. What is this even from? Some kind of recycling. Oh, because I ripped the box in half. Put it on top, and then I just put the furnace filter on top. I don't even know if the audio picked that up, to be honest. Ugh. But at the very least, I'm glad I'm recording. Right. And I just put the furnace filter on top of the cardboard that was on top of the fan, and I had that sucking through. That one is the one that just came out of my furnace earlier this morning. I swapped it hard out with the one that I was using. And when I tell you that puppy went from brand new, right, to having just a pentagonal oblong shape stain. It was orange. Right? You see my grayish looking furnace filter, right? How dirty it is. That went from white to gray. The one that I have in the furnace right now that I swapped, that puppy was white all around and had a orange stain in the center. So that shit that we were breathing in is coming inside your house, right? You have to have a MERV rated 13 plus, 13, 14, to have gotten rid of 99+% of the particulate. The sizes that they were at, 2.5 micro, what was the fucking size? Micrograms? I think, no, because micrometers, I'm sorry. Grams is weights. Meters is length, distance, size, right? So micrometers, 2.5 is like, because these are dreads. Can I get a strand of hair? Smaller than a strand of hair. 30 times smaller. 30 times smaller. That's what you're breathing in mass. That shit had my chest hurting just sitting in the house. So I had to make a shake, make a move, open up TikTok, and I saw somebody put together the whole setup. They're like, hey, put this on the outside of your house, right? Get a filter, four sides, tape it on there, right? And put it on the outside of your house. That's going to be on your AC units, like in the air in, right? So that was a double filter kind of setup. So you got the air coming in, going straight through the filter, being filtered, going through your AC system, coming, hitting your furnace on the inside where that blower is taking place, right? Funneling that air, hitting it for a second time, boom, and then coming out of your vents. But after I put this little setup together, because I'm not doing that. I live in a townhouse. I'm not about to do some freaky weird shit and have my neighbors call the cops on me. You see me? You see me? My neighbors be looking like this. I be looking like this. I'm just yapping. If you want to skip ahead to the stories, I got the little markers, right? I got the times. You can just click them and skip ahead. So I made this little jury rigged. How do you say that? I made this little rigged setup on the inside. I had one in my room, one down here in the living room, and it worked fantastic. They worked fantastic. Apparently the seals in my bedroom are a lot better on my windows compared to the ones that are here in the living room. But like right here, it's like a sliding door. And then big ass windows up here that's always letting in so much light. Those don't even open up. So I'm not even sure how good the seals on those are, to be completely honest. But there was definitely particulate coming in a larger fashion just here in the living room compared to in my bedroom. So I was locked in my bedroom for like two fucking days. I came downstairs, hit the kitchen just to cook, and then right back into my room. I wasn't playing around. So in the future, because there are going to be more wildfires, there are going to be more forest fires, get yourself a MERV 13, because I think I have an 11 right here. That's the rating for my furnace, right? It would be a detriment for me to try and put MERV 13, 14, 15 into that furnace, because it would cause a backflow of air, right? It would be the holes would be so much smaller in comparison for the air to try to get through. It will put a strain on that blower, destroy it, right? And who's not about to have AC in the summertime or heat in the winter? You feel me? So you would get just this as a backup, right? You should already be swapping out your furnace filters every 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. But you would get the one that you would finesse and set up yourself size-wise based upon the size of your fan, right? Tape it onto the back of your fan, put it in the front of your fan, set up a little funnel system the way how I did, right? And that way you can be prepared, right? And this is just stuff I got sitting around. Who doesn't have a fan? Who doesn't have some cardboard from getting something delivered? And again, every 3 months, you should be swapping out the filter in your furnace, unless you live in a huge ass fucking place and you got multiple AC systems, or maybe you got some weird bougie nice shit that I'm unaware of, right? That maybe doesn't use a regular filtration system like this. Definitely get the MERV 13 rated, because again, I think this is 11. Yep, MERV. This one's, I wonder how in focus this is. Probably not that in focus. Let me see if I can finesse this. Probably can't do it that well. My bad. My fault. MERV 11 though. Right. I believe the lower the number, the less filtration it does. Matter of fact, even I'll just read it, because this one is showing me the percentage of the sizing of the micrometers of the particulate, or PSE, that is trapping, right? For anything 0.3 to 1 micrometer, it's getting rid of 42%. Anything from 1 to 3 is getting rid of 77%. And 3 to 10 is getting rid of 88%. Right. So here it is. Oh, it's even giving me a max rated airflow. So if you're getting this stuff on like Amazon, Walmart, Myers, right, whatever store you gotta go to, Lowe's over Home Depot. Fuck Home Depot. Yeah, go to Lowe's. right? Get you a 2-pack. Get you two packs. All right, that's the whole year right there. Two packs, whole year, every single season. This was only getting rid of 77% of the particulate that was coming in. Right. So I was still battling and dealing with that amount. And unfortunately, that type of particulate is so small, it's being is being breathed straight in. It's going down your fuck, what are those called? Your esophagus, your tubes. It's going into your lungs, right? And then you're inside your lungs, you got little air sacs, right? That's doing the process normally of the nitrogen, oxygen, all the shit that you normally breathe in. And those air sacs are leading to blood vessels that, of course, lead to the rest of your blood vessels in your body, right? Going from your lungs throughout your entire body. And that natural process of your red blood cells carrying oxygen takes place and goes to all the different organs that needs it. But that shit, those particulates are so small, it's going straight in and it's hitting your bloodstream. And now you have old, burnt, dead tree soot, and then some heavy metals, right? Some heavy metals. Because remember, wherever stuff is planted, it's sucking that stuff up from the ground, from the dirt, through the roots, and it's becoming one with the plant. All that is going straight into your bloodstream. And the heavier, more dense the molecule is, the harder it is to break down. You only want, at least I think, oxygen going into your fucking bloodstream through your lungs, not anything else, right? So you might be a little messed up for a little while. Hopefully, if you have any health complications, if you have any issues with your lungs, bronchitis, asthma, anything else, you've been hitting your daily inhaler, your rescue inhaler, like I showed you. I got a daily boy over there. You've been doing breathing treatments, but you just have to be prepared for the future. You want to not only check your weather for your temp, but your wind, right? Your precipitation, and now your air quality, right? You go to AQI, maybe it's a .gov, but that's the rating where I learned everything. I literally learned about all the shit before, literally the day before the air came down and hit Michigan. So that was definitely something. I'm like, okay, it's 500, it's 404 here. I should not go outside at all, even though I need to go outside to make money. I'm just not going to make money today. And matter of fact, let's see what it is right now. It's going to be different per city, per county. Matter of fact, there's still an air quality alert. It's 127 right now, just because of the way, that's probably what my chest is hitting a little bit. Yeah, once I finish up this podcast, I'm going to turn that puppy back on. Because it's only when I came and sat down in here where it was bad. I'm actually annoyed that even hit my chest like this. Let's go ahead and type in AQI, right? And it's going to be airnow.gov. Yeah, airnow.gov. AQI basics. Let's go over here. So green is good, 0 to 50. Air quality is satisfactory, and air pollution poses little or no risk. Yellow is moderate, 51 to 100, right? That's the rating system. The values of index. Air quality is acceptable. However, there may be risk for some people, particularly those who are unusually sensitive to air pollution. Your boy right here. Orange, unhealthy for sensitive groups. This is 101 to 150. Members of sensitive groups may experience health effects. The general public is less likely to be affected, right? So if you are in perfect health, you can be outside, but only if you're in perfect health. Only if you're in perfect health, right? Red, unhealthy, 151 to 200, right? Some members of the general public may experience health effects. Members of sensitive groups may experience more serious health effects. So we're at 127 right now. Purple, we're very unhealthy, 201 to 300. Health alerts, the risk of health effects is increased for everyone. Right, so when you're 200 plus, you should not be outside, and your outside animals should not be outside. Really, once you're 150 plus, your dogs, your cats shouldn't be outside, period. Right? Fuck that. Once you're 100 plus, because you don't know what kind of health complications your dog may have, your cat may have. Right? Well, how often are you taking them to the vet and paying $3,000 for a full checkup? oh, my poor cat has asthma. No. In maroon, hazardous. 301 and higher. Health warning of emergency conditions. Everyone is more likely to be affected. Right. And I saw numbers for, matter of fact, the Upper Peninsula, the UP of Michigan. That shit hit 1140, 1150. When I learned about this, again, this was the day before this hit Michigan. I was completely unaware that the weather was even coming. Right. I wanted to learn about this for me to buy some property. Right. And I was like, oh, I can check the air quality here. I want to know if the train comes by, if the air quality is going to consistently be bad. Would I have to get air purifiers? Would I have to get like a heavy duty AC system? I'm just thinking random shit, right? Shit that you think about when it's time to buy stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to spend so much money. Would it even be a good idea to buy a piece of property near a fucking train track, right? You think about that. Oh, would it be a good idea to be near the freeway? Yeah, but how close to it? How bad is the air quality, right? You're getting all the pollution coming off trains, getting all the pollution coming off cars and trucks, diesel engines, right? And so I was learning about this, and I was going to look up areas later on. And I thought the shit maxed out at 500. Apparently, the record of all time since they started collecting data is like 1,400. You're like in the fire. You're dying. It's not the fire that kills you, it's the smoke. This atrocious. So, let's go ahead and, because I've just been yapping for 20 fucking minutes. I'm sorry. I probably lost everybody who came here to listen to Reddit stories, but you know, I'm a yapper. I took my medicine today. So I'm gonna just be yapping the entire episode. Let's go ahead and dive in. We're over on r/am I the asshole with an H with a post by Pain Comfortable 8891. Am I the asshole for refusing to continue providing free child care for my stepdaughter? I did a work program with the local clerk of court's office when I was in high school. They hired me when I graduated, and I had my 30 years service before I turned 50. Ooh. With 30 years service, you can get your full pension at any age. I worked until my first grandchild was born. Then I retired to be grandma daycare. I have 5 grands, 8 male from my stepson, 7 male from my son, 5 female, and 18-month male from my daughter. Did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's continue. I babysat all of them with no issues or complaints. I still keep the 18-month-old Monday through Friday, and the older ones summer and school holidays. Aw, you being pimped out. My stepdaughter and her boyfriend has been nonstop drama since before the baby was born. When she was 10 weeks pregnant, they presented a 3-page list of rules for when I was babysitting. They said if I didn't sign it, they wouldn't allow me to babysit. I'm not signing shit. I said that I understand their need to do what was best for their baby, and I assured them that there would be no hurt feelings on my end when they made other child care arrangements. Some of the rules were almost understandable, but most were downright ridiculous, and none of it was going to work for me. I don't remember them all, but some examples are: I can't take the baby anywhere without their permission. Understandable. I can't watch more than one additional child while babysitting. I got 4 other grandchildren. I can't cook. Huh? I had to provide the full name, date of birth, and address for any potential visitors ahead of time for their approval of the person being around their child. They have to know any time I have a guest over and know who it is and how long they stay. My 9-year-old cat would have to be kept out of rooms where the baby would be, even if the baby wasn't there. I couldn't get another pet without their agreement. Yeah. Only 2 of these? 3 of these? Makes sense. What the fuck? She was 7 months along when they came back with revised rules in an attempt to compromise. I again let them know that their expectations were not going to fit with my life and they should just find other childcare. 2 days after my stepdaughter went back to work, she called and asked if I could keep Cullen the next day. Team Jacob, bitch. I agreed, but made it clear. Well, Team Jacob until the last movie, because you know. I agreed, but made it clear that I was going to provide safe, appropriate care according to my judgment, and I wasn't going to deal with complaints or whatever that I was violating their rules because I wanted it very clear that I was not agreeing to any of that. My stepdaughter was okay on the days she picked Cullen up and dropped him off. I felt like she was interrogating me every time she picked him up, but it was tolerable. But her boyfriend was downright rude. I got to the point where I actually spent Sunday dreading the start of the week because of dealing with both of them, but especially his behavior. At minimum, he'd pick Cullen up, make a deal of him being partially undressed, make at least one snide comment about my cat, or if I had any grandchild over besides the 18-month-old, or if I had cooked or whatever. The cooking thing is so weird. Then he'd say, I guess we don't have any choice but to put up with this for now. Or I guess you're happy that you won. This went on for 4 months. I spoke to my stepdaughter several times about it and told her that obviously they are very unhappy with how I care for Cullen and that they should really work on finding something else and that in the meantime he needed to be less vocal about it. It would get better for a day or two and then he started again. Yeah, I started putting my foot up his ass. It all came to a head as Thanksgiving was approaching. He was very verbal about the fact that he didn't want me to keep all my grandchildren over the break. I made it very clear that there would be a couple of days that I had all of them and that they needed to make other arrangements if they had a problem. They didn't make other arrangements, and when he picked Cullen up on the first day that I had all my grands, that's cute. He was very rude, and although nothing happened, everyone was happy, clean, fed, and had a great day, he said. To Cullen, that he was sorry that they had no choice except to leave him in an unsafe situation to be neglected. You see why my brain just got a little fried right there? I called my stepdaughter that night, relayed to her what was said, and told her that she had 2 weeks to make other arrangements and that she needed to drop off and pick up Cullen during those 2 weeks. And if her boyfriend came to drop him off, I would refuse to keep him. And if he picked him up, I would not be keeping him again. So things were better only dealing with her. At some point, she asked me if I would keep him until January because they found someone, but he couldn't start until then. I agreed. She picked up Cullen and dropped him off, and everything was fine. New Year's Day, several people sent me a screenshot of a post her boyfriend made on social media about how thankful he was that they were finally able to leave Cullen without worrying about his safety or him being neglected. He didn't outright name me or accuse me of anything specific, but anyone who knows us knows I was keeping him, and the post implied plenty. I was just happy it was over. Friday, she called me and said that their new childcare provider had told her that Cullen wasn't a good fit and that she couldn't bring him back Monday. It's a business, baby. I don't want your money. She asked me if I would start keeping him again. I told her that I was sorry for their situation, but I really don't feel comfortable keeping him. My husband and stepson both think I should watch Cullen under the agreement that Amanda drop him off and pick him up because they think her boyfriend is the big problem and that I should just do it for Cullen's sake. My stepson also commented that I'd probably be more willing to let it go if it had been a conflict with my daughter's husband. My pension is about $4,000 a month, plus continuation of my health insurance. That's about 40% of our take-home income, if that matters. Am I the asshole for refusing to start watching Cullen again? I wouldn't want to deal with these people. I wouldn't want to. The whole stepson aspect, the stepkid aspect is irrelevant. No, it's highly irrelevant. No, no. Amanda did poorly. She picked poorly. And not only did she pick poorly, I blame the dad because OP is the stepmom. I wonder at one point she came into their life. I'm so curious now because of this dynamic. But it's highly irrelevant at this point, right? Amanda's a grown ass woman with a kid, and here you are fucking up. You apparently we're not ready to pop this kid out because you don't even know the realities of how things work with babysitting. There are going to be a bunch of kids running around and like one adult, right? This country does not give two flying fucks about any child of any age in particular, unless they're in the womb, and then they're throwing around archaic laws. They're throwing around laws that are like 300, 400 years fucking old. When the pilgrims came about and it was written on the scrolls, these are the laws that we're bringing back up to punish women who want to get abortions. Like, man, get the fuck out of here. I kind of feel a little bad for Cullen, right? Because he could be growing up in a nice little environment, being babysat around the 18-month-old, right? Because everybody else is 8, 7, 5. Yeah, those are a little too separated, right? They're only really coming around for summer and school holidays. The grandma is top tier. It's top tier. So I'm looking at it. So this is a mixed family. OP has one son and one daughter, and her husband has one son and one daughter. Yep. The eldest one, I can assume, or at least the one with the oldest kid, is her husband's son. Yep. Yeah, it's like she didn't talk to her siblings at all about how it would be. I don't even see why here you're trying to come in and fuck up the whole program. 4 whole children have been born before yours. All your siblings have kids that are all being babysat by your mom, even though she's your stepmom, all being babysat by your stepmom. This is grandma, right? This is grandma's daycare. This has been going on for at least 8 years now. 8 years now. Matter of fact, yeah. She literally retired to become a babysitter for her stepson. 8 years ago, and you're trying to fuck up the whole program. You telling me I can't have my neighbor over unless I tell you when they're coming. What's this shit again? Date of birth? Did they ask for the social security number too? Oh my God. Let me see. Where was this? Let me go back up. I'm sorry, you guys. This shit just threw me for a loop. Am I blind? I'm for sure blind. Yep. I can't take the baby anywhere without their permission. I kind of get that. But what if I want to just take the baby around the block or to the park? Do I have to get permission to do that? I have all these other kids. The 8-year-old, the 7-year-old, and the 5-year-old definitely want to go to the park and go play on the swings. If you say no, are we punishing these other kids now? This is a field trip. If there's no permission, then this child gets left behind. And if this child gets left behind, you are the parents. Your ass has to stay at home with the kids. This ain't school. There are no teachers left behind to watch after the kids. This baby has to stay now with you because you don't want the field trip to happen. What's the other one? You can't watch more than one additional child when babysitting. Why would it be your kid then? If a child is being babysat, why would it be your kid then? Well, maybe you think it will work out well just because the oldest kids are all in school. So Monday through Friday, it's just two babies, the walking toddler, a year and a half, and then this couple months old, 4 months old at this point of the story now. Here it is. I had to provide full name, date of birth, and address of any potential visitors ahead of time. I'm not giving you my address. I got one friend who knows where I live. No one else knows my address. if I'm going to visit somebody with kids and they want my address because the parent of a child being babysat wants my full, I don't even give my government name to people. I'm Mr. Always on 10 when I sign into things. I legally sign TEN double underline at the end of shit before my signature. This is atrocious. When I'm asked for initials, I give my government initials. But when I introduce myself as, hey, nice to meet you, I'm Mr. Always on 10. What the fuck is this? Address. I can't cook. The 1.5-year-old is eating solid food. It's not about to just be just fucking mush peas all day long. The baby isn't drinking formula anymore at 1.5. What is this? These garbage rules. I can understand like some anxiety, over the topness as a first time parent, right? But how did you not talk to any of your siblings, dog? I understand that 2 of them are your step siblings, so maybe you're not that close to them. But the person who had a kid for 8 years before you got one is your brother. You didn't talk to your brother about this? I had to provide full name, date of birth, and address. Yo, it's crazy. They have to know anytime I have a guest over and who it is and for how long they stay, right? I can grasp that until the how long they stay part. Am I clocking when they walk in and when they leave out? And I'm doing the math for that. Am I really opening up my app, my camera app to see that? To do that math? My 9-year-old cat will have to be kept out of rooms where the baby would be, even if the baby wasn't there. If you think that because this is when OP's stepdaughter is pregnant. The baby's not born yet. If you think that your baby might be allergic to cats off rip, then you should be asking the cat to get rehomed. Because the cat's going to be shedding everywhere. Even if the cat never ends up there, right? The fur is going to be blowing around the house. So small, so light. It's just going to be going around the house. Right. It's going to hit some vents. It's going to get sucked around. It's going to get moved around. That's just how it goes. And I couldn't get another pet without their agreement. Yo, let me read a top comment before I crash out. Is OP an asshole for refusing to watch Colin again? OP's an asshole for not face palming her children, right? Even though Amanda's boyfriend isn't her husband, you have had a child together. You are tied for life now. You are my child now. Yep. Since you wanted to knock up my stepdaughter, you are my child now. And my parental rights for when you do egregious dumb shit is for me to palm your face. Yep. And these are the consequences of your actions. You get your face palmed now. Or your child just doesn't get babysat. I didn't babysat 4 grandkids. I'm cool with not babysitting one of them. All right. It gives me a break in my old age, in my 50s. My back. It's a needy baby too. I don't want to hold the baby all the time. Top comment by Terrasage. That's interesting. 9.7K upvotes and 3 awards. 3 of them. Not the asshole. No, you shouldn't put yourself through this for Cullen's sake. Cullen will get cared for regardless. There's no need for you to set yourself on fire because your stepdaughter and her boyfriend can't behave like normal human beings. Your husband and stepson are welcome to offer free childcare and put up with this treatment if it's important to them. Hey. But you've done your time. Learn from that experience and don't let yourself be put in the same situation again. And that brings up like 2 thoughts to me, right? Because the husband may or may not be retired. No, he's not retired because he is bringing home 60% of the other income. Yeah, he's still working at the moment. The way how I see it, this is just one thing rather than 2. There should be like a federal program, right, for daycares where you go to college for it, All right, you go, you get a degree in it. You go, you get certified in it. You go and you become a federal employee. So you get a federal background check. So we know you aren't around here touching on the kids in illegal ways, morally reprehensible ways, right? Everyone is constantly being okay. You're being monitored here and there, here and now, right? You have to re-register. You have to go get updated training, and this is paid for with tax dollars. So every American citizen who pops a kid out, okay, it takes two at a minimum for the people who get paid the least amount in America. And it takes two incomes to support this household. We're knocking off 30, 40, 50, 100,000 in childcare off rip, right? Federally funded programming. These people are going to be taking care of your kids. So off rip, when you're like, okay, I need to move to a certain area that's going to have good schools, you're going to need to move to a certain area that also has the federal daycare programs, right? Because your small little itty bitty town may only have one person, right? Because they've been situated there. They've been placed there. Like how certain visa doctors, they don't get to pick and choose their hospital for the first couple of years of their residency. They get put somewhere where they're needed, right? You get placed in this little shit bunk town with a couple hundred people, and it's only this many number of people who's within the ranges of 18 to 28 who are thinking about popping kids out, who are married, who are trying, right? Who have popped kids out, right? So they're taking care of this number of kids, right? You're going to want to move to an area where the 30-minute drive is away for you to drop your kid off at daycare. I'm like thinking it out as I'm talking, but I've thought about like the basics of this before, right? It should be training, college, consistent retraining for as there's updates and knowledge on how to take care of kids, right? 0 to 5, child rearing, and you're federally monitored, right? If you're on bullshit, you're out of here. Blackbird 24601 replies to Terrasage. There's a reason the licensed daycare won't keep him. It's the boyfriend. The liability alone would make me pause. He could ruin your lives. And this comment got them 7.4 thousand upvotes and 4 awards. Yeah. I think these were clapping awards. Or are these prayer hands? What kind of awards are these? Doesn't matter to me. Moving on. Let's find a comment where OP responds. Yeah. So OP replies to a comment that was a reply to our top comment, Terrasage, and their comment got removed by the moderator. And they deleted their account sometimes afterwards too. But they have 400 upvotes. OP says, I don't know about ideal, but my mom was my rock. And her helping with my kids helped so much financially. My kids had such an amazing relationship with her. I wanted to do that for my children and grandchildren. See, that's top tier right there. That's top tier right there. Grandma coming in. Mabel Wobbles, best friend forever. Okay. Drops a comment. Looks like your stepson should find a new babysitter then, given you're always showing so much favoritism to your biological children. What an ungrateful asshat. And Ophir replies to that. He is the oldest. I literally retired to watch his child for free. I could have just kept working and waited until my biological children had babies if that was how I felt. Ooh. Yeah. And that's one thing. The stepson needs to shut the fuck up. You're going to work, bro. You're not babysitting. Right? Your stepmom, I don't know if your mom is dead and gone, but your mom took care of your baby while you were at work. While maybe your wife was at work too. Right? And then you put your kid in school. So all the rearing that took place once both of you were at work was done by your mom. Right? You was a man. You never put forth that much effort in taking care of your kid like women do. And shut the fuck up. Your opinion is invalid because, for one, you're not dealing with these people. You're not seeing how the way they're acting. You are not me. You are not the one going through this emotional drain. I wonder how much they're even paying grandma for this. I wonder is grandma just coming out of her pocket for all this? That's one thing, because this when family does the daycare stuff, it's like, here's $20, here's $40, right? And then everything just gets handled. Okay, Simple 5493 drops a comment, 47 upvotes. I am sincerely confused about why they didn't want you to cook. Do they not cook? Do they understand that people need to feed their children and themselves? Obviously not the ass. Bro, why did I not even think of that? If I'm about to be babysitting your kid for 8 to 10 hours, when am I going to eat? Am I making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all day? Am I just making cereal? Does that count as cooking? If I got the knife out, is that a bad thing? Do I got to use a spoon for the PB&J? Am I not allowed to be in the kitchen? Let me continue the comment. Obviously not the asshole. I would also be concerned about the boyfriend claiming you did something to harm the baby. Your husband can watch the baby if he wants to help out with help out his daughter. I will let your stepdaughter know that you saw the post and that her boyfriend's behavior is abusive and you refuse to tolerate him. You can be honest. I'm guessing the baby wasn't a good fit at the other daycare because dad was also awful to them. And OP replies, they're okay with heating up food, but not cooking from scratch. Raw meat, diverted attention, kitchen fires. It's just an unnecessary risk. Do they cook? Do they cook? Or is it just the fact of the matter, it's probably 2 people at home? It's like, okay, go ahead and make dinner, wife. Make dinner for me, wife. Plus, what if I didn't wash my hands well enough, or I missed a spot when I wiped the counter? Yo. Valis Monkey replies, oh, for Pete's sake. And OP replies that, as if moms haven't always cooked dinner for their families while minding their own children pre-microwave. And even then, like a little bit of germs is good for the baby. I'm annoyed. We're moving on to the update since I'm annoyed. Forget the rest of the comments. First, let me address the common suggestion that Amanda's boyfriend is purposely sabotaging her child care to trap her at home. They roughly... oh, that is a possibility. They roughly make the same amount of money and definitely can't afford to lose half their income. I seriously doubt he wants her to stay home. Second, I would never tell my grandson to find someone else to watch his child because of a simple difference of opinion. My grandson and I have a very close bond. He's the oldest, and it would break my heart and his if he didn't come spend his holidays and summers with me. Plus, he's a huge help with the little ones when I have them all and things get hectic. I would never be so petty as to make him and all of my other grandchildren suffer because of an adult disagreement. So I sort of asked around about why they were dropped by their new sitter so quickly. Apparently they weren't. Amanda picked Cullen up and dropped him off both days he went, and everything was lovely. He did cry quite a bit, but they expected that to get better as he adjusted to not being held as much. My husband and stepson talked to Amanda, and she said that they realized they can't afford daycare. There it is. They already made the easy changes, packing a lunch, giving him fancy coffee, etc. And his dad and her mom are both giving them about $100 a month towards childcare, and they can barely afford it. But they didn't realize that you have to send everything the baby needs. I buy diapers, wipes, formula, bottles, extra clothes, etc. They just hand me the baby. They didn't realize that daycare didn't cover all of that. Also, imagine her boyfriend's surprise when he found out that staffing rates are in this very expensive daycare. What the staffing rates are in this very expensive daycare. I read that wrong. One adult cares for 5 infants. I guess he thought that someone would provide one-on-one care, diapers, wipes, and formula for $350 a week. My stepson relayed their almost apology. They felt overwhelmed by an infant and couldn't imagine that someone else could manage that, plus other things. Cullen is going back to daycare tomorrow. Cullen's dad is selling his dirt bike, and Amanda is selling some designer clothes, handbags, and shoes to cover the costs. It'll get easier for them in 6 months when he transfers to the 1-year-old class, which is a little cheaper. Fuck them. They gotta suffer. They gotta suffer. It's just that simple. You decided to you decided to play a game for pleasure, had a whoopsie baby, right? And now you're out here thinking the world is just going to bend to your whims. You haven't lived long enough yet. You don't know how harsh the world is yet. I'm glad that this story is like 2 years old, just for the fact of the matter that the price of things have gone up so much. At least you don't have to deal with diapers and formulas at this price now. You can get some hand-me-downs from your siblings, and things can be a little bit smoother for you, right? But you decided to fuck up again and again and again. You were entitled little shits for no good reason, and just overall disappointed adults. You didn't do any math at all. Here's the math for the people right now, right? As of 2026, I think the numbers came out around first quarter, right? So wintertime, right? The beginning of the year. Let's call it spring. Let's call it March, April. No matter where you are, what county, what state, the minimum wage to not be at a level of poverty for a household of 4, 2 adults and 2 kids, husband, wife, 2 children, wife, 2 children, husband, 2 children, 2 they, thems, 2 children, right? $140,000. $140,000. If you aren't making $70,000 after taxes, and then your partner isn't making $70,000 after taxes together, you are at poverty levels. You are just barely above poverty levels by making $140,000, right? So that means you got to climb to out of middle lower class to middle class. You got to be bringing in 200,000. Upper middle class, middle upper class, the top of middle class. You're looking at 400,000, 500,000. Right. You need to be bringing in a million. Every single kid, if you want them to have lavish 2 sports a year, equipment and all that, summer camp and all that, you need like 60 bands a year just for them. Food, clothes, all the bells and whistles. Maybe even school that costs 10, 15, 20 grand a year. Could you imagine that? You had to pay for a kid to go to school? And you did public school your entire life. Public free. Public is free. Could you imagine having to drop 20 bands on your kid to go to school to get a good education? Think about that. Matter of fact, do the math with me. Do the monkey now. All right. 20 bands. 20 bands make a dance. And I don't even know if you got to drop that up front. So 20 bands divided by 9 months. 9 months. Right? It's $2,222. Right? We're just going to divide that by 4. Beep, 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 beep. That's an extra $555 a week. A week. And who knows if they take weekly payments. So you need 20 bands up front. 20 bands. 20 bands. Top comment by Pinky Baby 2024. I love how Amanda's boyfriend was shocked to find out that daycare isn't a magical babysitting fairyland. Newsflash, diapers don't grow on trees, buddy. And it's got them 8.9K upvotes. Almost as many fucking upvotes as the post itself, bro. It's crazy. And Gary Blue Girl drops a comment in reply to Pink Baby. Wonder if he's ever going to apologize for being an absolute idiot. What a moron. And I got them 4.1K upvotes. And a deleted user drops the truth in reply. No, he'll likely get Amanda pregnant again inside of a year because he literally cannot connect cause and effect, and neither can Amanda. This is on the parents. This is on the parents. You gotta raise your kids not to be little dumbasses. You gotta put forth the work and effort, right? It costs too much to take care of kids. And if you don't do it, your ass is going to prison. Your kids are getting taken away from you by CPS, and your ass is going to prison for neglect. And when you come out, you're not going to have shit. Your job's not going to take you back, right? All your cards are going to be maxed out. The companies are going to be coming after your ass because you ain't made no payments, right? All your utilities are going to be cut. They're going to be coming after your ass for payments, right? You ain't going to have a home because you would have got evicted, so all your shit is gone. Your vehicle is gone because everyone's making payments on everything. Your credit is fucked. All right. Before you sit down and you're like, ooh, let me stick it in raw. Before you sit down and you spread, you're like, ooh, go ahead and stick it in raw. Right. Before you even do anything, you need to decide, oh, could I spend the rest of my life with this motherfucker? I know you're a couple dates in, you're a couple weeks in, you're a couple months in. Could I spend, if we end up with a whoopsie, right, and you're not pro-abortion, you need to make that decision. Because a hot 18 years is going to cost you a hot $2 million $2 million if you don't want no dog shit fucking environment to raise your child in. Because again, once you start popping out kids, it goes from, oh, I only needed one bedroom and the other bedroom is a conference room / guest room / workout room / playroom. Nope, it's not your shit anymore. That's your kid's bedroom. And once they grow up, they'll need that entire space to themselves. So you maybe think bunk bed could be the thing. Maybe you think you can have 3 race car beds in one room. But once they grow up, now you need that motherfucking 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom. If you think, I need to go forth and be fruitful and multiply, you need 3 kids minimum. 3 kids minimum. That means 4-bedroom minimum. Right? And you get no extra space. The house belongs to the children. To the children. I get annoyed with these people sometimes. I swear I do. Now, a competitive sleep replied to a comment that had them saying, to me, Amanda is worse. She allowed her family to be poorly treated. She sounds awful and with the guy she deserves. I hope OP's husband does not give them a penny. And OP replies to this. We agreed that he wouldn't when they first started giving me issues. It's a line in the sand, and I'd probably file for divorce. Hey, yo. All right. So at least her husband ain't on bullshit all the way. He's just giving an unfounded opinion and he needs to keep his fucking mouth shut. Hill Viz drops a comment. Wow, I thought it was bad before. I knew you provided clothes, diapers, and formula. They literally bit the hand that was feeding them. Idiots. Also, not the asshole. Again. And OP replies to that. I have 2 whole grandkids' rooms. One for the littles and one for the bigs. I have a minivan, car seats. They all have play clothes, nice clothes, rain boots, and toys at my house. Yo, Amanda fucked all this up. I can't even blame Amanda. Her dad dropped the ball in raising her. He raised an idiot. I don't know if OP was involved in how she was being raised, but she literally has no concept of how shit works. And like, this is how the rich motherfuckers want you to be. They want you to be so vastly ignorant of things. So when you're, I'm just willy-nilly, I'm 16, I'm pregnant, I'm 18 and I'm pregnant. Okay, now no college for you. Now you can't get a good job. Now you can't be a high, well-earning, highly paid member of society, right? You're stuck with 5 kids at the crib and you have no concept of anything. By the time you have figured it out, your kids are in their double digits and they dislike you for all the dumb shit and how poorly you raised them. Oh my God, this is atrocious. I'm not a fan. OP's comment continues. And when the toddlers are developmentally ready, I take them to a play-based preschool that's run by homeschooling moms where you pay a small fee to support the building, but mostly paying labor. I pay for that and do the required volunteer hours. Yo. They got a preschool co-op going on here. This is top tier. No. The smart one must have been OP's husband's dead wife. Or OP just did a bad job getting married to this guy and she picked wrong because the mom for the stepchildren must have ran the fuck off. She saw the writing on the wall. Oh, I fucked up. Oh, my children are becoming little monsters. Here you go. And she dipped out. I would rather Amanda's mom just be deceased in the story, but we have no. Oh my god, dog. We're gonna read one more comment. Honey, we're gonna Google this. Oh, the only time the AI has really came through. So the username is Honey MCMLXXIII, right? Which is Roman numerals. So this is Honey 1973, right? The first M is 4,000, right? So that's the one in the 1973. The CM that follows is 900, right? The L that follows that gets combined with the two X's and then the three I's. So the L is 50, the two X's is 20, and then the three I's is 3. So 50, 20, and 3 makes 73. So 1,973. Oh, excuse me. This is beautiful. So Honey 1973 says, your stepson owes you an apology, a saying that you would tolerate blatant disrespect, slander, with that Facebook post, and verbal abuse. The boyfriend telling the baby he's sorry to leave him in a neglectful environment. Oof. You should demand that apology. I understand that you don't want to stop babysitting your grandson, but your stepson was way out of line. And he and your husband are disrespectful by not acknowledging how vile your stepdaughter's boyfriend's behavior has been. Do not back down and agree to watch Cullen. It's not his fault that his parents suck, but it's not your fault either. You are an angel. I hope you have many more years of fun and love with your other grandchildren. And OP replies to that, not a chance. I will watch him again. Actions have consequences. And that is the moral of this episode. We're over in r/ am I the asshole with an H with a post by Slurping Sky. These usernames. Am I the asshole for moving out of my dad's house because his girlfriend and her kid were moving in? I, 18 male, but will be 19 in a month, moved out of my dad's house last month. It wasn't planned long term. It actually went against what my dad and I had talked about. But I moved out because he was moving in his girlfriend and her kid. And I don't like his girlfriend. Dad raised me on his own. He and my mom broke up when I was 5 months old and she stopped being in my life. My dad first met his girlfriend when I was 6. They dated on and off for the last 12 years. They never lived together before, and they were never together for this long either. 2 years. But over the years, she pissed me off a lot and made me wish he settled down with someone else. This isn't a thing of me not liking anyone Dad dated. He was with someone else when I was 14, and I liked her a lot. This is more about this specific girlfriend than me not wanting Dad with anyone. I first started to dislike her when I was 8, and she told me she was going to take me to see my mom. She got all riled up because Dad and I had seen Mom a few days before, and my mom went up to Dad to yell at him for trying to get child support out of her. She ignored me completely and told Dad she didn't want her past mistakes to ruin her future. I was saying how I never wanted to see my mom again, and so Dad's girlfriend decided she'd take me to see her. My dad shut that down hard. His girlfriend said my mom needed to confront that I'm her kid. It felt like Dad's girlfriend didn't care what I wanted or how that would hurt me. And even though she later apologized, it felt forced and like she was like, fine, whatever, sorry. But it made me see her differently. She and Dad broke up not long after that. She still brings up Mom more than I would like when she and my dad are together. Yo, I resist the urge to tell her to shut the hell up. Half the time, I expect her to go behind our backs and try to get Mom involved. When I was like 10 or 11, she got kicked out of the coding classes I was taking and almost had the cops called on her. Dad had asked her to pick me up. She needed her ID, but she forgot it, so the class organizer couldn't let her take me. And instead of calling Dad, she started a fight about it and started screaming for me to grab my stuff and go. Yeah. The organizer said even if I wanted to go with her, she needed ID before she could let me go. They were just about to call the cops when she said she called Dad and then he picked me up instead. It was late when he came, and she was angry for days after that. I was so embarrassed, and Jesus. And some of the kids made fun of me when it was going down. She didn't care, and I remember her rolling her eyes when I said she was the reason the kids were making fun of me. Another thing that has really pissed me off about her, and this is a reoccurring issue, is when she sees me on the phone and she snaps her fingers in my face. This would happen when I was on the phone and when she came over. I was normally talking to family, either my great grandma, who was in a nursing home, she died 8 months ago, or out of state family. She expected me to end any call and pay attention to her when she came over. She didn't like that I'd be busy talking to family. If Dad was there, he'd say to leave me be, but she did it so many times. She even come and track me down in my bedroom and start snapping her fingers in my face. I throw the phone in her face. I throw my phone in her face. There's other stuff that's built up over time, and most of it is more like petty stuff, but I really don't like her anymore. The last time my dad and her broke up, she got pregnant with another guy's kid. When her and Dad got back together, they decided to try and make it work. I was hoping they wouldn't. I know that might sound bad, but I take so many other people over her. But Dad loves her. And when he told me they were moving in last month, I told him I'd find somewhere else to live. Dad told me I didn't have to, and in 2 days, it took me to figure something out. He tried to stop me. He told me I didn't need to, and I wasn't going to be kicked out. They were just coming to live with us. I told him I couldn't live with his girlfriend. I wasn't going to force myself to. I told him I wasn't stopping him from moving them in, but I was moving myself out before that happened. Things between me and my dad have been tense ever since I moved out. His girlfriend's offended that I moved out because they were moving in, and she tried to give me a piece of her mind or whatever. I ignored her. She told me I better be there nearly every day to make up for it, but I haven't been to Dad's house once. I made plans to do stuff with him, but any family dinner invites I don't accept. Dad told me it was extreme to move out when I had always planned to stay at least another 2 years. I told him I could not accept her being part of my household, and it was better I moved out when I did than disrespecting her like I knew I would. His girlfriend accused me of trying to break them up and ruin their relationship. She even called me moving out a stunt. I ended up blocking her number, but I hear her when Dad calls. She's apparently going to blame me if her kids' feelings get hurt in all of this. Am I the asshole? You've been a child through all of this, so no. No. I was trying to figure out a way to like blame you for not pushing her down the stairs when you had the chance. But no, you've been a kid this entire time. Your dad's a piece of shit loser who was obviously pussy whipped. He must have found her shit supremely tight, supremely wet. I'm sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. And this guy he just can't get from under her spell. She's probably the only woman who's always going to be in this space. Oh, you're on the phone. Oh, you're on the phone. Pay attention to me. Oh, you're on the phone. Pay attention to me. Right? Always being in his face. Always giving him attention. And she's just some needy, entitled loser. I don't know. This is the thing. This is always the number one issue. People pick wrong. People pick wrong most of the time because they're dumb. Right? They aren't emotionally intelligent to any minimum degree, right? To any good degree that would help them maneuver through life well without resistance that would cause them mental harm. This guy is just, he's fucking up his relationship with his son for pussy, right? The woman that you wanted to be with for the last 12 years, you keep constantly breaking up with, and now she has brought, and I don't want to sound like any red pill loser fucking manosphere, right? But she has brought another man's kid into your home. She cannot keep a stable relationship. You cannot keep a stable relationship. That means you do not need to be together. Both of y'all need heavy therapy. There's something wrong with you that you keep spinning back to this woman. There's something wrong with you that you can't keep other good relationships that are apparently better than what you have, especially since the fact of the matter that your son can see this and your son is a victim of abuse by some random bitch. You are bringing an abuser into your child's life. Shame on you. Ugh. Ugh. And the consequences of your actions are going to be that you're never going to see your son again. Have fun raising that little girl that's not yours. Right. Depending on how much of a piece of shit that your girlfriend is. She's going to raise her daughter not to fuck with you. You're just constantly making the worst decisions. OP, you did fantastic by getting the fuck on. You did not need to put yourself in dire mental straits by even consistently interacting with these people. No, it would have been the worst environment for you, especially if you're going to college right now. Please get an awesome degree. Please. Please. Learn from your father's mistakes. Get therapy for yourself so you can properly maneuver through dating and get yourself a good partner for the future. Top comment. 5.9K upvotes. One award by a mad woman. Not the asshole. You sound like a very intelligent young man. You know your feelings and boundaries. You also know yourself well enough to know there will not be respect given when it's not being received. Good for you. You're doing the right thing. And that's one thing. Remember, people, respect means the utmost admiration for someone's quality, abilities, and or achievements. Disrespect is the lack of that, right? Being respectful or respectable is how society treats people on the norm, on the average, right? And so if someone treats you poorly, society doesn't dictate that you have to treat them better than they're treating you. Generally, society dictates that you proceed with violence. And I'm part of society, and I say you proceed with violence. All right. If I could have talked to teenage you, I would have said punch that bitch in the face. You aren't going to jail. You just gonna get grounded. No shit. What's your dad gonna do? Is he gonna attack you? Shit. No, I'm calling CPS on your behalf. You got some abusive woman in your household that is not your mom abusing you verbally and physically, right? Shit, you can blame the bumps and the bruises and the marks on her if you don't want your dad to go down. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm saying wild shit. This would probably get you removed. If the CPS in that particular area isn't overwhelmed, violence would get you removed from the household. I'm pretty sure. I hate situations like these because it's not even like a situation. This is just life. This upsets me. Significant half 189 drops a comment. Not the asshole, but curiosity. Were you meant to say curiously? Or were you trying to say I'm curious? Was she also expecting you to help out with a kid and that's why she wanted you there every day? Also, if the kid is hurt by this, that's her fault for telling them. OP moved out because that's what grown-ups do. This is a perfectly fine explanation. So if she says it's because of the kid when it's because of her, jeez. And OP responds to that. She never said anything about me helping with the kid. It was more like I better be there to give them attention and so my dad isn't upset. Yeah, I wonder if this is some kind of weird narcissist trait that she just wants attention from everybody in the vicinity. Because why am I doing something and you're trying to distract me, throw me off everything that I got going on to take away? It's so weird. I can never really get into like these people's minds. I can always be like on my side of things. Sometimes it's even hard for me to get like in the frame of like the original posters of the OPs because I wouldn't maneuver this way. I can understand there being like some tension, some friction, some hesitation, right? Those are like natural, but I couldn't imagine being the woman. What the fuck is this? Ugh, it's so weird, dog. So weird. Illustrious River 4050 comments. The snapping in your face thing? Oh, hell no. That pissed me off too. That's crazy rude. That's one of many other issues here. But it caught my attention because, wow. I think almost no one could be an asshole for moving out of their parents' house. That's a life milestone generally done because it's what's needed for independence. Not something that's wrong or bad or malicious. My only concern would be if it was feasible for you. But it seems like you managed it. But no, not the asshole anyway. The girlfriend is. And so is your dad for letting her treat you like that. And OP replies to that. My grandparents let me move in with them. Without that, I'd probably be in a not so great situation. But I think even a bad situation outside Dad's house would be better than living with her. Shout out to the grandparents. That's one thing right there. This kid has just been going through it this entire time. And you know what that is? That's the dad being bad at picking a partner. You can see he picked a partner, had a child with them, and that person did not want to be a parent. Then he picked another partner that was abusive to his child for over a decade. And he thought that these were the best people to be with. He laid down with one and happily had a kid with one. And he did his very best to move another one in. He kept spinning back over and over again. He kept opening the door for this woman to come in. This is crazy. I don't know if he was like purposely oblivious to the verbal abuse or just didn't consider it negative, abusive, right? But when the mom didn't want to be a mom, he was like, oh no, I can't have my son around this. Or maybe he tried to have a kid around that. But she was in his presence, so outwardly malicious, potentially. Right, like that grocery store incident. Just completely ignoring her child's whole existence and being upset about child support. Yeah, the dad just sucks. At least the grandparents are making up for it by sheltering their grandchild. For raising the shitty. Oh my god! No matter what, it always goes back to the parents. It always goes back to the parents, man. Oh, oh my god, that shit is like disturbing. I don't. And there's no even mention by OP of meeting up with his dad. It's a shame. It's a shame. There's nothing that the kid can do. He's 19. Now at this point, maybe even 20 at this point, actually story wise, or time wise, since the story's been posted. I feel sorry that he has no parents, no mom, and no real dad. Who knows what kind of poor job he's done at raising them? Even though he may revere his father, he doesn't know at what parental levels his father was lacking in and how he raised him, right? Morals and values that was given to him, instilled in him, are most likely flawed. Because look at what he allowed to come into his house, right? Hopefully he doesn't have a relationship with his father ever again, unless he gets fucking therapy. Oh, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. We're over in r/oh no consequences with a post by Inherent Signia. Entitled driver parks in a private lot is surprised when he can't leave. This one is short and sweet. I live in a small apartment building a few blocks north of Wrigley Field, where the Cubs play, and the season has, unfortunately, just begun. Our building has a small, private, unfenced lot for private resident parking, and due to our proximity to the ballpark, we are frequent targets of out-of-towners looking to park close to Wrigley for free. Most of us know better than to leave our spots during a ball game, but tonight, one of my neighbors had left his spots, only to find some jackass from out of town had parked in a spot. Well, unfortunately, the spot stealer was nowhere to be found when my neighbor returned, and so in a particularly inspired stroke of genius, my neighbor simply parked him in. Our lot is on an odd diagonal block, which means my neighbor was able to pull up behind the spot stealer without his own SUV hanging out in the alley. It was tight, but it worked. Cut to several hours later, the Cubs game is over. Throngs of people are spilling out into the streets, and I'm at home getting some work done when I hear some particularly aggrieved honking. My office looks out onto the back lot, elevator first floor, and I annoyedly ignored the first few honks. But after 15 minutes or so of this, I went over to the window, opened it up, and shouted at the car to quit honking. The spot stealer rolls down his window and gestures to the SUV blocking him in. "Do you know whose car this is?" he asked. "No, dude, but you gotta knock it off. There's kids sleeping." There were no kids, but it's 10 p.m. and I'm deeply annoyed. And then I shut my window. Sure enough, no more honking, but I kept peeking out every few minutes. After about half an hour, I heard car doors slam, and I looked out to see the spot stealer and his girlfriend frustratedly leaving the car, look around in desperation, and eventually leave. Enjoy taking public transit back to Naperville and coming back in a $150 Uber for your car tomorrow, jackass. Hopefully, he's now learned what happens when you park in a spot that isn't yours. Dog. This is some shit that I would do to get me fucked up like this. I'm not going to lie to you. Ooh. Oh my God. I don't even know how you get out of a situation like this, to be completely honest. This. I'm not going to give you guys any ideas. I immediately thought of a way how to finesse out of this. I'm not going to give you guys any ideas. But I'm absolutely going to add that to my Amazon wish list. Ooh, I just figured out a way. I figured out a method. It requires a lot. I don't even know if I'll be able to fit all that in my truck. That would be like a waste of space. That would be like a destruction to gas as well. Yeah, that would burn through gas with how much it weighs. Yeah, this is the consequences of his actions. Fuck him. Fuck him. Right. I'm a photographer. I'm a videographer. I will park anywhere. I will park illegally to get the shot. I am now shooting film. The other day, I was out and about, and there were some birds. I don't even know what kind of birds. And I had to park in somebody's driveway to hop out onto the road and like take pictures of them. Oh my God. My very first camera was a Canon. And now my very first film camera is a Canon. It's beautiful. It's in great condition too. This puppy's older than I am. I just got lost in the plot. But yeah, I'll park illegally for some shots to get the shot. Right? But this guy parked illegally just so he wouldn't have to pay the price to go see the Cubs. He just wanted to be close. You either come early, right, or you pay that expensive ass parking. It's just that simple. You pay to play, baby. You pay to play. You already paid for the tickets. You already paid for the expensive ass glizzy. Go ahead and pay for the parking. It's just $55, $65, $75. The longer you don't give me that card and you give me your keys, the more the price is gonna go up. It's $105 to park here now. Ooh, but the thought process is for all the people living at this spot, and this story is also a little while old too. So if the original OP, if the original poster ever sees this, you should get with all your neighbors who live there and get with like the owner and say, hey, we want to pitch in either a percentage of the rent that we already pay or like $50 and get a nice fenced in lot. All right, $50 every single month for the next, or for the rest of our lease. You know, we pitch in, we get a nice little key fob that opens up an automatic fence, and we can park here. Because that would be dope. I don't even know how much a fence like that would cost. We're going to Google it. Let's see. Automatic fence. Gates. Oh shit, just the gate itself is $2,000 to $3,000. Oh my God. Oh my God. $2,000 to $3,000. How much is a fence? How much are metal fences? Oh, excuse me. Metal fences. Oh, there's a calculator. That's a sponsor result. I'm not clicking on that. It's like my dick. Anywhere between $20 to $85 per linear foot installed. Oh my God. The average price running from $4,000 to $17,000. That's what the AI says. Fuck the AI. Angie's List. Oh, good Lord. Why is it so much? 6 foot wide, 18. 6 foot wide, 8 foot tall. Right? Is it 6 foot tall, 8 foot wide? Oh, good Lord. Jesus. $200. This should cost a lot. This should cost a lot. So it's length by width. So that's going to be 6 feet. I don't even know what the math would be because it opens out into the alley. So maybe you will want like two potential openings. One into the street, one into the alley. So that's immediately 4 racks. And then what's the average size parking lot? I don't even know. I can't even do the math for you guys like that for real. Can we spitball it? So if it's connected to the building, that's one side that we don't have to do. So there's potentially 2 long sides for the alley and then maybe the main street and then the side street. The side street is going to be shorter. So let's just immediately say, oh yeah, matter of fact, what's the width of a vehicle? Let's do that. What's the width of a parking spot? of a parking spot. Let's see. How many feet is this? This is 8 feet. I'm getting millimeters. This won't even load. Oh my God. Images. Let's see. 9 feet. 8 feet. 9 feet. 9 feet. So let's just make it 20. Let's just make it 20 vehicles. All right. Let's make it 20 vehicles. Let's make it. Are we going to make it 12 apartment buildings or are we going to make it 18 apartment buildings? Let's make it 15 apartment buildings. Right. And then we're going to try and provide some handicap parking. Yeah, we'll do it like that. So 20 times 9 for the width. Damn, 180 feet is crazy. And then what do we divide by 6? Oh my God. So that's 30 times 200. $6,000. And then we just got to add in an extra 6 feet just for shits and giggles. So 6,200 on both sides. That's 12,400. 12,400. And then we got the length of the spacing. So it's 17 feet. Let me see. U.S. standard space. 18 feet. What's this other one? Hold on. U.S. standard large space. Yeah, U.S. standard space, 18 feet. So we're not going to do the large space, which is 20 feet. Right? That would fit pickup trucks, though, easily. So 18 feet. We're going to triple that. So 18 is going to give us 54 feet. And then we're going to need 54 divided by 6. What does that give us? 9. And then 9 times 200. $1,800. So what do we have before? 18. I can just look at my history. 18 plus 12,400. $14,200. We're going to remove one automatic fence opener off rip. We're going to add in 3 racks for that. And then we'll go ahead and just subtract like $200 to make it an even 17 grand. 17 grand. Oh my God. So if we got, how many tenants did we say we were going to have? 20 spots, 15 tenants. 15 tenants are paying $20, $300 every single month times 12. It's $3,600. That's not paying for shit. All right. This is an upfront cost that the owner will have to put in. It's not even, what number did I just give? $20? Okay. Let's do 15 tenants times $50, times 12, 9,000. What's the total amount that we need? $17,200. So the tenants will all have to go in $100, right, every single month for the next 12 months if they're maxed out with 15 to get a nice fenced-in parking garage. Okay, parking lot. Okay, boom, with the clicker. With the clicker. Maybe the clickers are extra, but this is $18,000. So we're $1,000 over. So we can get extra. We can have an extra band for clickers, right? And then it's just you're paying a clicker fee for new tenants moving in, $25, $50, right? Who gives a shit, right? I got a clicker. No one's stealing my vehicle. I just did it. How long did that take me? Obviously I did the math because there's no comments by OP here. Or maybe there are, and I'm just a little slow. Nope, there's no comments by OP. Top comment by KEMPFF. Do you know whose car this is? No, but it's probably some out of town douche come in for the ball game. Happens all the time. Me, I'm too aggressive. I'm going down there. I'm like, yo, stop fucking honking. It's late at night. Is this your goddamn vehicle? I'm setting off my car alarm. It's right next to your shit. Or it's over just a couple of. Is that annoying you? I don't want to hear you fucking honking. You park here like this? Because I know all the people who live here. You shouldn't have parked there. The motherfucker whose vehicle this is that parked you in is a crazy old veteran. I don't even talk to that motherfucker. I seen him shoot BB guns out the window at birds. I know he has several guns and knives. It would behoove you not to fuck with his vehicle. You should either sleep here or Uber to the crib. But if you keep honking your horn, I will wake that motherfucker up and tell you that you tried to back out into his shit and you scratched this shit. All right, I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. This makes me want to own like a parking lot downtown in Detroit. Make some money. We're over on r/relationship advice with a post by Obvious Ocelots 8315. My daughter, an 18 female, against my 45 female advice, decided to come out to my wealthy, bigoted parents. They have now disowned her, and now I am being blamed. What can I do to fix this? This is going to be long, but I need some real help here because I just don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore. I'm 45 female, a single parent to 2 children, 17 male and 18 female, and the unfortunate daughter to 2 boomers, both in their 70s. Ugh. My parents are the epitome of the white, wealthy boomer stereotype. They are entitled, racist, sexist, MAGA-brained bigots who abuse service workers for sport and think that attending church on Sundays makes them good Christian people. Palm them right to the face. They also are stinking, filthy rich due to them capitalizing on a series of business ventures in the 70s and the 80s, plus generational wealth. So they're packing 7-figure bank accounts. My entire life, my parents have held their money over my head as a tool in order to get me to do what they wanted. In my teens, I ended up rebelling and going no contact with them. But when I became pregnant by my late husband, he convinced me to give them a second chance and let them back into my life. Since we reconnected, they have never given me a dime for my own costs. And even after I lost my husband, they only ever helped pay off the house my husband and I had bought together. But this was purely to keep the roof over my grandkids' heads, not their daughters. In spite of that, though, they have truthfully been pretty good grandparents to my kids, and they have always known that they would fund them through college, and that on their passing, they were they were set to inherit millions. The issue began 4 months ago when my daughter came out to me. I was so proud of her, and that I had successfully fostered an environment where she felt safe enough to open up to me like this. I was so happy. Afterwards, she broached the topic of extending the news to her grandparents, and that's where my smile faded. The following is an abridged version of what I told her. I want you to be your true self, and I will never deny you that. But your grandparents come from a very different world to the one where you and I occupy. If they learn that you're gay, it's not just that they won't be able to understand you. They are going to actively punish you for it. Every day, the world is becoming more and more difficult just to exist in. And your generation are eventually going to be facing challenges that my generation will never have to deal with. I want you to be safe and secure as you go forward in life. But because your father is no longer here to help support us, I have not been able to do right by you financially the way I wish I could have. If you come out to grandma and grandpa, though, you will not be their gay granddaughter to them. You will just be another faggot. They will cut you off. That will mean no more expensive gifts, no more car, no more free ride to college, no more private apartment, no inheritance, nothing. They will take everything. I told her that I was by no means asking her to stay in the closet. She can still live her life out and proud as she wants. And get a girlfriend. Experiment sexually. But just do not advertise it on social media. And definitely not do it around my parents. My parents are old. They don't get out as much anymore. And mostly just spend their time going back and forth between church, the store, and home, where they sit around reading conspiracies on Facebook. They are also not in good health, and I do not see them lasting more than 7 to 10 years. I told her that if she plays her cards right and lays low around them, she will never have to struggle the way so many of her friends are struggling, and that when the time comes, she can choose to bury them in a rainbow coffin if she wishes. At the time, she seemed sad, but she said she understood, and we hugged it out. And that was that, until it wasn't. My daughter has an online circle of queer friends that she speaks with daily through her Discord, and they have been filling her ears with things like how she needs to come out to them, how by not embracing her identity fully, she still has one foot in the closet, that even if her grandparents react negatively, at least she'll be living her authentic self. Since she started bringing it up, I've been trying to drill into her just what a terrible idea this was, often and repeatedly. And I thought she was listening. Well, it happened. It happened. We had my parents over for dinner, and she decided to stand up in the middle of dessert and come out to them. She had this whole speech prepared about how she knows that they are from a different time, about how the world changes and how they will have to learn to change too, but that she knows deep down that they will come to accept her in time. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion, only my daughter was in the driver's seat, and the brake was completely out of my reach. After she was finished, my parents just gathered their things and walked out. This was a month ago, and they have since disowned her completely. Last week, we received the news that they have written her out of their will. They have canceled her phone contract and taken back the car that was in their name. My daughter was set to inherit millions, and now she will be receiving nothing. She's currently preparing for college, and now she's facing the reality that she'll have to take out loans and get a job. Even if I anticipated this response from them, I am still thoroughly sickened, and I've cut them off once and for all. One of the last messages they sent to me was, "We worked hard for our money, and she won't be using it to fund her degenerate lifestyle." This was the little girl whose hand they once held in the park, whose little body they once carried on their shoulders. I feel sick. My daughter is inconsolable, but she has turned her anger against me. She is blaming me for this entire thing, and every day she alternates between raging and crying and raging again. Our home has become completely inhospitable. Things have been broken, and my son and I are walking on eggshells. This whole time I've just been talking. Cut this part out. This whole time I've just been taking her shit. But last night we had another confrontation, and she screamed at me that this was all my fault, and I just wanted her to live in a closet her entire life, and that I have never supported her. And this time I just snapped. I yelled back that I warned her, and she chose not to listen. That her and her pack of stupid online friends, people who have never even met my parents, they all thought that they knew them better. And you decided to listen to them over the one person in this world who was actually raised by them. That I had advised her on the best investment that she would ever make her in her life. And she had blown it completely. Since then, she's been upstairs crying in her room, and I just don't know what to do. How in the hell am I supposed to navigate this situation? Well, what could I have done to protect her from this? Am I really at fault here? What could I have done differently? You could have done differently in this situation? You could have jumped up and grabbed her and snatched her when you saw it happening. And you could have screamed over top of her when she started to do it. I don't know when you found out what her stupid ass friends on Discord were telling her. I don't know if it was just after the fact or this was beforehand and you were trying to convince her out of it consistently. No, you found out beforehand. You were trying to convince her out of it consistently. You only fucked up in not being the number one person she would listen to. Right. Kids aren't always going to listen to their parents, especially when they're teenagers, when they're becoming adults. She's 18. Right. She's coming out of the crib, but she was raised in a spoiled manner to a degree. Not every kid gets the vehicle as a teenager. Right. Even though it seems like that because of movies. I was catching the bus up until 18. And then I had a little stick shift shooter. Right. Crashed that puppy after having it for a couple months. And then I had to pay for my own thing that I couldn't afford. I'm paying for another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. I haven't had that many vehicles. Right. But it's coming out of my own pocket. I have one grandparent. Never paid for shit. Spoiled. Children aren't raised in a way to grasp the realities of how expensive things are. They aren't. Schools don't do that unless the rich ones do. I went to public school. I went to a good public school, one of the best in the state. When I went, was the best in the state. The number one, second to none, baby. But I see this kind of recurring issue that kids get whatever they ask for, and they don't understand the cost involved with them and how much it takes weekly, bi-weekly checks to obtain them. Right. And as prices continue to go up, they just aren't passed on the knowledge and having it really drilled into them so they can understand. Oof. We've got an edit. I've received a lot of comments on this post and gotten a lot of good feedback. Right? A lot of good feedback. Do I want to read this edit? More than I possibly have the energy to reply to. But I'm reading every single comment. Thank you to everybody who commented so far. Nope, I'm not going to read this. Yeah, I am going to read this. I also wanted to clear a few things up before I go, just because I feel drained. Yeah, we're going to read this edit, then read the comments. I never once told my daughter she can't be gay in public. She can get sick to her friends and walk around with one on a leash for all I care. So long as it's all consensual and she doesn't end up on the local news. I only asked that she keep it off social media, which her grandparents were a part of. And 2, the reason my children's father isn't around is because he is dead. He was struck and killed by a drunk driver 10 years ago. I have never remarried. 3, I have already disowned my parents once and for all. Please stop telling me that I need to stand up to them and defend my daughter. I've already told them exactly what I think of them, and they don't care. 4, my son will not be receiving my daughter's portion of inheritance. And that has apparently already been allocated to go towards outside groups of my parents' choosing. As for what types, you can use your imagination. 5, I do think what my daughter did was foolish, unwise, and ultimately stupid in the context of security of her future. An unpleasant part of parenthood that people rarely talk out is that sometimes your children will do and behave in ways that will make you dislike them. By lashing out, abusing her brother and I, and breaking things around the house, right now I do not like her. But I do love her, and that love is unconditional. I will never do to her what my parents did to me, and I will continue to support her through this. And maybe some way we can find a resolution. I don't expect I'll update this post, but thanks again to everyone who stopped by with advice and suggestions. One thing is therapy. And two things is family therapy. Three things is individual therapy for everybody in the house, right? That's the thing. Because you didn't find their behavior abhorrent enough to not disown them, your parents themselves, until after you came here to Reddit and you asked for advice. After your daughter came out to them and she disowned them and took all the fancy stuff. I don't know if she treated them poorly in the in-between. I don't know if she posted anything. I don't know if they posted anything to Facebook. I don't know if they called her and texted her and said nasty things to her about her sexual identity. But you allow bigoted people to be in your life, right? My parents are old. My parents are old and black and Christian. And inherently, they don't fuck with gay people, right? And me, I am young African-American millennial. I don't fuck with people who don't fuck with gay people. And so I verbally give my parents the shit all the time whenever they're on any type of homophobic shit, right? I will talk down to my parents. I will argue them all the way down, right? They're Christian. They shouldn't be treating anybody any differently. They shouldn't be judging anybody any differently, right? But when it's the homophobia, it's like the rules slip out of their mind and they act in a way that I consider uncouth, right? And that is the majority of Christians. That is the majority of Americans, right? Not everyone gets treated in the way that they want to. But this boomer shit is even worse. This white, old, rich, generational wealth shit is even worse, right? These are like comments by my parents that I wouldn't care for, right? Oh, they seen a gay person on TV and it's just like, it throws them off, right? Their parents did a bad job, right? Society, the environment around them did a bad job. They were raised in a time period where anything that wasn't straight, anything that wasn't white man was persecuted to a high degree with all kinds of lies and manipulation. So I can understand now that they're old, in their 50s and their 60s, right? That brainwashing has taken root in so many different ways in their mind, and it's just hard to get that shit out of them, right? So I'm like really staunch in my thoughts. I can just imagine if I had a kid and it came out in any manner, right? It wouldn't have to just be gay. It gives me complex thoughts, right? Because I don't know what they're going to be like in the next 10 to 20 years. You know, it's not like my kid would be 10 coming out, but 15 to 20 years. Let's just throw it out there. 15 to 25, right? Let's give my imaginary children any breath of time to come out at any time, from a teenager to an adult. I don't even know if comments said by them in passing would be like detrimental to the way that I will raise my children. Ma, I know you're already like watching this. I'm gonna have to have a deep talk with both of my parents. People, comment down below if you ever got your parents to convince them out of positions that they've held. Right. And how much effort you got to put in to get that to happen. Because that's one thing. Right. Because your boy's straight. I don't even know what kind of life I would have lived growing up being a young black gay boy. Because I would have been, how old I would have been? I would have been 14. No, matter of fact, no, not 14. I'm sorry. Well, let me see real quick. When did gay people get the right to be married? What year was that? 2015. Ooh, I would have been 20. I would have been 20. And I'm sure during that time period, persecution shot up all-time highs for gay people. Maybe not in comparison to like the 70s when the church was literally saying, hey, if you touch a gay person, you're going to turn gay. Gay is an infection, right? That whole shit. You had the term coined homophobia because the Christian church literally made you fearful of gay people, right? They made you fearful. And of course, now it's fear and hate. But we have a grasp and an understanding that your brain isn't running at its full faculties when you are experiencing a type of ism, right? Racism. Your prefrontal cortex isn't firing off anywhere near a good degree to make good decisions, and your amygdala is firing off higher than what it should be, which is like it was just the fear area, if I'm not mistaken. I saw this explained in the video, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? Look it up yourself. Where they did the study, they did this testing, where the amygdala is going off, right? So you can see that it's just a fear response for the people who are experiencing racism. And if you're having it forced on you through the avenues of the church in the 1970s, a time period where America was 99% Christian, this is what you're learning. This is what you're learning about these people. This is what you're being trained to. It's literally mostly bullshit. Just like 99%, 100% bullshit, because I don't know every single thing that came out of their mouth, but it's just made up garbage meant to fearmonger, meant to hate, meant to hurt, right? Human beings are like pattern recognition machines. I hear this a lot. I see this a lot. They are fearful. They are weary of things that are not like themselves. Yeah, they are fearful and weary of things that are not like themselves. Oh, yeah. So this just makes me think, because if anybody treated my kids wrong, it's violence. It's violence. And I'd rather not be violent to my parents. I'd rather they just be the best people that they possibly could be. Because people are coming out, they don't get to choose their sexuality, right? They don't. We have no understanding if it's genetics or socialization or a combination of the two, right? Of a factor. But I'm sure positive is natural. Positive is natural. You can look at any animal, period, in the world, and these motherfuckers are having homosexual sex and homosexual relationship, and not just that, are going back and forth between both genders, having children, and then two male dogs, two female dogs, raising a litter. Right. You can see plants that aren't all one gender. I think most trees are both at once reproducing. Right. It isn't just two. Right. We can see it within our own particular species. Right. For humans, 1 to 3% of humans are coming out intersex. Right. If anything and everything is natural. Right. And it's just two. It's just two. And the two are meant to be with one another. Automatically, you have hundreds of millions of people around the world. Hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions? I'm sorry. Tens of millions. Hundreds of millions, if you want to count everybody that's ever lived. Tens of millions currently alive, based upon 1 to 3% of 8 billion people. 8 billion people. Because off rip is 10% is going to be 800 million. All right. 1% would be 80 million. 3% would be 360 million. right? 360 million people is immediately more than the number of people in the United States. So there are more people who have a mixture of genitalia, a mixture of their chromosomes, right? Or at the very least, a mixture of their sex chromosomes in the world than there are in America, number of people in America. So it's always been a, why are you worried about what another motherfucker is doing consensually in a bedroom with another consenting a partner? But it's even worse when people are damaging children. Children who haven't even made decisions yet. Children who are exploring. When adults are hurting them mentally and don't even realize it. When there are laws being put into place to restrict them, to abuse them, to make it so that they are easy to abuse. Right? We see a lot of crazy ass laws being put out every single year, hundreds of laws, especially now for trans people, being put out at the state level, at the local level. And the fuck are you doing? These people, these old people, rather than making it so that people, what I said earlier in the episode, so that there's a child care available for everyone and put together in a systematic way, taken care of by our tax dollars, by the federal government, right? Rather than making sure that all education is equal, right? Rather than making sure that no one is poor, right? We're coming after a small percentage of the population, infringing on their rights. Top comment by Richard 0000069 with 11K votes. Not your fault. You warned her multiple times. This will probably be the most painful lesson of her life. And hope he responds to that. I just wish I could do something to fix this. I've even contemplated calling up my parents and telling them that it was just all a joke. That she created an outrageous scenario that she was hoping to film and upload to TikTok. It would humiliate me, but I would drag myself through glass for my daughter. At the same time, though, I'm so angry at her. How many children in this world grow up with this sort of opportunity? I thought I did my best in not allowing my parents' money to cloud her judgment, but I am beginning to think I have failed. Maybe if I had allowed life to be a little harder for her, she would have appreciated what was at stake. And that is like such a complex issue. But do you want the money of an evil person, essentially? Right? You hate a person for living the way they live that isn't causing harm to anyone. You outwardly, in the way you maneuver through life, harm others. In the way that you engage with social media and apparently give millions of dollars away to entities. It's like, would you want to hide yourself to become a millionaire? Me, at this point in time, seeing how difficult and how harsh life is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million? Oof. 7, 8? Oof. Only because I'm aware of how expensive things are, and any number of millions would rocket me to chilling, because they're sitting on 7 figures. It's easy 5 mil. I'm splitting it with my brother. If they're sitting on 10 million, they're giving it away. 5 million. You invested, you live off the dividends, you're good for the rest of your life. You're good. 2 minimum. You're good. You're good. I think 3, you're bringing in 6 figures while doing nothing. If the market is having a bad year, 4, you're still bringing in 6 figures. With 5, the market could be in the negative for a year. You're still bringing in money because your investments are so spread out. Ugh. A savory thing replies to OP. Your impulse to fix this for her might be what led her down this path in the first place. Our job as parents isn't to fix everything for them. They need to learn that there are real life consequences to the actions that they choose. It doesn't sound like she ever learned the lesson about taking responsibility for her own actions. As the other Redditor above me pointed out, this is the hardest lesson she'll ever learn. But she'll be a better person if she truly internalizes this lesson and understands that this was her choice and the consequences are hers, and now she has to deal with it. Money or freedom? Money or freedom? If you don't want somebody to see something, you just make a second account and they won't find it. If you don't use your government name and you don't add your cell phone to the account, if you don't follow people that your other account is already following, people won't find it. If you keep your page private, no one will be able to look at it besides those who you allow to let in. Her daughter could have been a millionaire. And nothing is going to change their bigotry. Maybe if OP did something 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 14, 13, 12, 11, right? Then yeah. But it's also that thing of, in the early 2000s, did she give a fuck? Was she a super gung-ho activist, right? People, even when they're on the side that's right, care about a lot, but how far are you willing to go, right? You see the Republicans generally only give a fuck about themselves and then like their family, right? They care less about their neighbors, less about some random stranger, even less about the homeless people, even less about the environment, even less about the squirrel that they ran over with their 6-ton pickup truck lifted, right? Little ball, little dick edition, right? People on the left, Democrats, they care more about everything. They care more to a large degree about all those things that I just mentioned. But are you really willing to cut off the lifeline? Because, like, her husband passed and they cashed out on her. But then again, it's just the what if portion of things. Because maybe if she didn't get back into a relationship with her parents, her husband wouldn't have passed that day. Right? I hate dealing with what ifs. I truly do. Money from a racist bigot. Because you have that overlap of those people who are homophobic and those who are racist. It's just so easy, right? The flaw in their thinking is easy. It's easy for them to hate all groups other than their own, right? I'm just thinking about this. I'm kind of annoyed. So, Madoc responds to OP. Oh, they quote OP's story. How many children would grow up in this sort of opportunity? I thought I did my best in not allowing my parents' money to cloud her good judgment, but I'm beginning to think that I have failed. And their response to that quote: you also had this opportunity. You could have inherited millions. You are their only child, but you didn't want to live in this narrow confines of their asinine worldview and broke free. My entire life, my parents have held their money over my head as a tool in order to get me to do what they wanted. I mean, I get seeing your child get disinherited and lose out on literal millions of dollars sucks, but the reality is that you wouldn't bend your life in service of their hypocrisy for money. Sounds like your daughter is more like you than not. And OP replies to that. You're completely right. She is exactly like me. And I don't want to say that that's a problem, but honestly, look where I end up in spite of all my choices. I broke away from my parents, and even with all of my smarts and gumption, I couldn't make it on my own. I struggled like hell. I got pregnant to a man I adored, and then he died. And if he hadn't convinced me to try and mend my relationship with them, then my children and I would have ended up on the street. If it weren't for the intervention of my parents, we would have lost the house. And the only reason I'm able to provide for them at all now is because it's all paid for, courtesy of them. Back then, though the situation was different as well, my parents were still healthy, and they had a much greater degree of control over me. And at the time, it seemed like they were going to live forever. I couldn't stomach the idea of living under their thumb for another 30 years. But unlike me, my daughter didn't actually have to live with them. All she had to do was keep her head down live her life and wait a few years until they died. I will never regret my children. I will never regret my husband. But even after everything that has happened, sometimes I do wonder whether I should have kept my head down and stuck it out at the end of the day. I am still disinherited, so I guess my daughter and I are more alike than I thought. No, because then you have like a constant mental strain on yourself. I hate people telling me what to do. I hate it. Right? Not like, oh, my boss told me to do something at work. Right? No, people telling me to do the opposite of what I am. Right? Somebody saw something, heard something that I did, and oh, nah, stop it. Shut the fuck up. Who the fuck are you talking to? That shit immediately makes me want to lash out. Because who are you to tell me what to do? Stop breathing, bitch. I don't like the way you smell. Go jump in a vat of bleach. Your hair is ugly. Go cut it. Your fit is terrible. Go change it. That food you got over there is so unseasoned. Go learn from a chef, please. Please. Right? I can just be on some ignorant timing like that. But legitimately, I hate when people tell me what to do. Let's see. There was something. There was something that I saw in here. I'm looking for this comment. Rare Abbreviations 34 drops a comment. There's nothing you could have done differently. You warned her. You told her exactly what would happen if she chose to go this route. She didn't heed your warning and now has to live with the consequences. She has a right to come out to anyone she wants to. And you didn't stop her from doing that. But she does have a right now to dictate how others will react. Who? Your parents are old and stuck and not likely to make a change. Not that they can't, just that they likely won't. This isn't your fault. The best thing you can do now is be there for your daughter as you always have been, and maybe suggest some therapy for dealing with the fallout of her coming out to people she shouldn't have. It's a hard lesson to learn at any age. But as my mom used to say, at 18, we all think we're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Your daughter just learned she isn't. And that got them 4.1K upvotes. And Little Panda 21 drops a comment. Yep, reminded me of this story. And that leads us into our very next story, baby. Yeah. We're over in r/Am I the Asshole with a post by Sweet Vixen 1996. Oof, Gen Zer. Yeah. Am I the asshole for advising my friend against coming out? I know the title sounds bad, but hear me out. Okay, so I, 23 female, have a friend, Sam, the same age, who is female to male, transgender individual. However, I am one for very few people who know this, and he generally still presents as female. This is because his family, mom, dad, grandfather, are all, quite frankly, horrible homophobics. Seriously. I've been to their house 3 times since Sam and I met in middle school, and each one of them has launched into some sort of hateful rant, completely unprompted. Now, here is where it gets complicated. Horrible as he might, Sam's grandfather is very wealthy, and Sam is set to inherit $2.5 million when he dies, which will probably be soon due to the man's rather serious health conditions. Sam has seen the will and knows this for a fact, but he also knows he'll be disowned if he came out as transgender to his family. Because of this, Sam has stayed in the closet and continues to present as a female, though he took to cutting his hair shorter and dressing more androgynously in college. for then the sake of staying in good standing with his grandfather. Sam has always been very open about his plan to fully come out and deal with the consequences after he had the money. But today, at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, Sam called me and woke me up to tell me that he was considering coming out to his family soon and that he thought it was dishonest to continue with the lie for money, but asked for my advice. I was shocked, but honestly told him I thought it was a bad idea. I explained that the $2.5 million would allow Sam to finally live his dream life, pay off student debts, get a sex change surgery, maybe get a house, etc. Literally all of that. And then I pointed out that Sam would almost certainly be thrown out of the house for doing so. And he still lives with his parents for some complicated reasons. And he wouldn't be able to stay with me if that happened because on top of living in a one-bedroom apartment, I babysit my 6-year-old immunocompromised younger brother twice a week, and I cannot risk cross-contamination from Sam, who is an essential worker. I also wasn't shy about making my opinion that his family wasn't worthy of honesty extremely clear. Anyway, after I was done explaining all this, Sam just burst into tears before hanging up. I was confused, but it was only 5:45 a.m., so I just rolled over and went back to bed. Later in the morning, I woke up to a bunch of text messages from Sam saying that I was a bad friend, a horrible person, and claiming I'm homophobic/transphobic. Now, I could not give a damn about a person's sexual orientation or gender identity if he paid me. I am simply a deeply pragmatic person, and Sam knows this, so it really hurt to read these messages. I didn't respond at first and decided to talk this over with my mother, who was aware of Sam's situation. Anyway, am I the asshole? If you're not getting a secondary call at 5:30 a.m., don't pick up the phone. If you're calling me at 5:30 a.m., I'm not picking up the phone. My phone is on. Actually, 5:30 a.m. I'm on my way to work, so I would pick up the phone. When would I still be asleep? If you called me at 3:30 a.m., you wouldn't even wake me up. My phone's on sleep mode. You had to call me so many times that you'll be better off calling the cops. If you really needed something, if you really need help, you'd be better off calling for Superman. No, I'm not picking up the phone. I'm not. My phone is perpetually in vibrate. The ringer is never on. No, it's not happening. If the ringer is on, it's on accident. Are you the asshole for saying the truth in a sleepy state? No, not at all. Top comment by Daco Mail. Daco Mail. Okay. Not the asshole. Your advice, while unpleasant, was sound. It's not even about the inheritance. It's that he is living a life with horrible transphobic parents who would disown him if he came out. It's hard to know whether he'd be safe if he did come out or whether he'd be homeless, nor whatnot. He needs to get to a place where he can safely support himself before he comes out. I would sit down with a friend and calmly explain what you said here and maybe recommend that he find a therapist that he can bounce things off of, and that you'll help him in any way you feasibly can. I, as a cis straight male, have no idea how hard you find your friend has it, but I can sympathize. That's like one thing. There are so many degrees, varying degrees of what people go through. I like resonate with what OP said right here. I can give a damn about a person's sexual orientation or gender identity if you pay me. All right. You're going to find me being an ally 1,000,000% to my people, to African American people, right? Not black people, African American people. Race is a made up social construct that needs to never exist ever again. It's lasted too long, right? Asian people don't call themselves yellow. Indigenous people don't call themselves red. Only white people say white people. Only black people say black people. Only these two. And they are terrible identifiers. Horrible identifiers. All right, we need to get rid of them. People will live better lives if the concept of race did not exist and racist did not exist. All right, it's not like they would poof and go away. They would just be bigots and prejudiced people. But we would live in a much more intelligent society if it wasn't a thing, I believe. If you ask me if I was an ally for other groups, other marginalized groups, other minority groups, I would probably give you a nuanced take. I would probably say, no, I am inherently neutral about all other groups. For one, because I don't get out. I don't get active. I don't march. I don't donate. I don't do anything besides the normal. It's probably not normal. The reposts that I do on TikTok and Instagram. That's the activism. That's the avocation that I do for people outside of my own groups, because I fall in so many. I'm just an African American guy. African American. That's it. All right, I'm straight. What am I? Middle class. I am like middle. I am intelligent, nerdy, right? And I don't feel myself needing to advocate for nerds. I say no strictly because I don't put forth the effort besides doing a little bit of knowledge sharing. But I am definitely not against, right? I find myself saying yes in a non-nuanced way because these people should have no one going against them. It's just that fucking simple. I would sooner punch a homophobic, racist, bigoted, prejudiced individual in the face on behalf of any random person on the street very easily. I do the time standing on my head, right? There are so many people who are readily against people living normal, happy lives for themselves. They need to have their teeth kicked in. So my nuanced take is no. Is it nuanced, non-nuanced? It doesn't really matter because the best course of action is physical action, right? Like I said in the previous story, people are taking the legal route to codify laws, to inhibit, to bring absolute resistance to those who just want to live their life the way that they choose, the way that they have discovered through just growing up in this country. And I find that abhorrent. People really, truly need to have bones broken because these old fucks in office cannot be taught. They cannot learn. True change will only come. Actually, I don't know if I can say this on the podcast. Never mind. Never mind. Just know I'm gonna be on your side. I'm gonna be on your side. You're a minority group. You need somebody to ride with you. I'm gonna be on your side. Oh shit. Oh, baseball bat to the mailbox. And the mailbox isn't a real mailbox. They call me midnight, dropped a comment. No assholes here, but some people aren't worth fighting. Besides, Sam asked you for your advice. If he wasn't ready to hear about it, he shouldn't have asked. He's probably in a very stressful situation that he wants to get out of. And you probably gave him a piece of reality that he wasn't ready to face at all. Try to talk to him. After all, you meant no harm. I hope he responds to that. I did tell him that. At the very least, he should get a new place to live before doing so. He also got upset when I said he couldn't live with me. I think that his assumption, and I think that was his assumption, and normally I'd be happy to let him crash on my couch, but given everything going on in the world, it just isn't doable. And this was during COVID. Chunky Monkey replies, I agree, and I think they both kind of screwed up. Depending on how OP told Sam. Sam did overreact, calling OP homophobic and a bad friend, but in the moment, it seems like OP is siding with the family, even though that she isn't. And this got them -4 upvotes, 4 downvotes. OP replies to that. Admittedly, I probably wasn't the nicest about it, but I was pretty grouchy about being woken up at 5:30 in the morning. And Chunky Monkey replies to that. Right, then that makes sense. Don't fucking call me that early. Never call me that early. Never, ever, 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 ever. Throwaway 13168751. Comments, no assholes here, but I think your advice was too hasty because it was 5:30 in the morning. Waiting for someone to die is a good way to watch your youth slip away. Even the unhealthiest of old men can hang around for years. What if the grandfather lives another 10 years? Long-term health care is expensive. How much of the money will be left if he lingers for a long time? And OP replies to that. His grandfather is suffering from both stage 4 lung and stomach cancer, on top of being 78. He is already in hospice care and has another 2 years at most. Damn, 2 years in stage 4? Damn. Throwaway, I'm not reading their whole name again, replies, I feel really bad for him. The prospect of even 2 years is a long time to suffer under unbearable conditions. What would his life look like if his family rejected him? Does he have an education, a job, or other friends? And OP responds, Sam has a decent paying job as a hospital lab tech, but he is terrible with money and has basically no savings or idea how to budget. That is a side effect from growing up rich, I suppose. Yeah, it is. I can blame the parents, but that'd be an understatement. Fuck those people. Throwaway replies, that's worth mentioning in the original post. He probably makes like $20 an hour and gets paid fortnightly. Even if he has no savings, he could probably go on Craigslist and find a $600 a month room to rent, pay the deposit with his next paycheck, and be moved out in less than 2 weeks. Lots of people are bad with money right out of college. Sounds like he's at the point where he's in a good position, willing and motivated to learn to take care of himself. And OP replies, my worry is that he has always been bad with money, even when we were younger. Once we went to Hershey's Park on a school choir trip, and he got $250 cash spending money from his parents. This was a one-day trip, and he blew all of it to the point I ended up needing to buy lunch with him. Oh, no. All to the point where I ended up needing to buy him lunch with the $40 my uncle had given me. The threads are connecting. The dots are being drawn. They're being drawn to one another. Throwaway response. That's why you think he can't survive on his own? Even if you have a dozen examples like that, that's no reason to live in misery for 2 more years. Huh? Okay. He's a 23-year-old man who went to college and now holds a job in the lab, meaning he's smart, capable of being organized, and capable of learning. He'll make mistakes just like every other young adult living on their own for their first time, but he'll be fine. People can work and be absolutely terrible when they leave work. OP replies, I mean, his mom was kind of the one who got him the job, but yeah, you're right. Oh. Part of me is just worried about the stress of poverty will put more pressure on his depression. It's just a lot of back and forth. My fickle mind responds, what do you think the stress of hiding will do to him? Here's the thing. If his mom got him that job, if it's in relation to anything that they own, their business stuff, she can get him fired if he comes out. We're over to the update, baby. To the updates. Okay, so I want to thank everyone for my original post for the different perspectives and that everyone was able to be calm and respectful. Yeah, you forgot the word be there. I'll be the first to admit that while I have my own issues, I obviously cannot fully relate to Sam's struggles, and I probably could have been nicer about my concerns. In my own defense, he did wake me up at 5:30 in the morning, so I was pretty dazed and grouchy. I also wanted to elaborate on the money situation and why Sam and I probably view that $2.5 million very differently. Sam and I come from very different financial backgrounds. I came from a poor, blended household of 6 children and was the second eldest child. We never starved. My extended family, which we are all very close, but luxuries were hard to come by. Why did you mention your extended family? And there were times my twin brother and I were both working multiple part-time jobs to keep the lights on or to replace the water heater when it broke for a second time. I was only able to attend the same private schools as Sam was because of merit-based scholarships. I, and my family as a whole, am in much better position now, money-wise, as I work 2 well-paying jobs, one of which is footing the bill for me to get through my doctorate's degree. But I still have a lot of money-related anxiety. Sam, however, was and has always been rich. And while his family are all pick, what does pick mean in relation to rich people? Oh, were you typing this on your phone? No, I don't see how you were typing this on your phone and rich became pick. I don't see how autocorrect would have did that. They never hesitated to spoil him financially. What did you mean by pick? I used to call him a Visa kid, which is like a latchkey kid, but with his father's Visa card, which he was free to use on whatever he wanted. Damn. Sam never bragged about having vastly more money than I did, but there were definitely times when he was accidentally insensitive about it. He once commented about how run down my house was after seeing where my stepdad had patched up some leaky pipes with neon orange duct tape, for example. Despite this, Sam usually had dinner at my house. My mom is a great cook, and he had it there about twice a week, oblivious that my parents budgeted for each and every meal very carefully, and him being there was honestly an inconvenience. They both felt bad for him, though, and never said anything. Currently, Sam has a well-paying job as a hospital lab tech, but has no real savings and is, in general, terrible with money. He has no idea how to budget because his family has always paid for everything, and the only reason he has student loans is because they refused to pay for some study abroad Sam wanted to do. When I said he still lives at home, what I actually meant is that he lives in his parents' guest house completely rent-free. They even buy his groceries for him, so the money he makes from his job is basically spent on video games, clothes, collectibles, etc. Spoiled ass motherfucker. My point is that Sam could definitely afford to live on his own / be financially independent if he wanted to, but I'm genuinely concerned how he take the downgrading it will require. Anyway, on to the update. I went home today for our Sunday meal, standard Sunday meal, Sunday, and talked things over with my mom. She says that it sounds like Sam had already decided to come out and was looking for support / validation instead of advice, but didn't want to outright ask for it. My mom also says, while she agrees with me, she thinks I could have been gentler and that I should have apologized for the sake of the friendship. I, however, was conflicted. I don't believe in false apologies because they are demeaning to everyone involved. Ooh, I like that. I also don't like that Sam went fishing for validation and support instead of just asking for it because I think that is manipulative. As I said before, I am a very pragmatic individual and think that it would be foolish to give up so much money when you were so close to getting it. Still, I also know how it's been for Sam to keep such a big part of himself a secret for so long. So I thought about all the comments left on my original post and what my mom said, and eventually decided to send an email saying, 1. I stand by what I said earlier, and I think the advice I gave was solid, even if it wasn't one that he wanted to hear. 2. But I was sorry if what I said hurt him, and that hadn't been my intention at all. 3. That I would, of course, stand by and support Sam if he made the choice to come out, as it was his choice. 4. I also thought he should make sure he was both physically, emotionally, and financially stable before doing so. 5. I also sent him the information for a mental health clinic I go to, which is offering 3 free Skype sessions with a counselor to help people cope with quarantine, and suggested Sam talk things over with one. Aw. 6. I suggested that he get his important personal documents together, social security number, birth certificate, passport, etc., and put them in a secret, safe place, and even offered to hold on to them. 7. Finally, I said he should make sure he has somewhere to live before coming out. I found a couple of cheap, like $500 a month places on Craigslist for rent and put the links in. I even promised to pay for the first month's rent if necessary. Then I sent the email out to Sam and went to help cook dinner. About an hour later, Sam called, but my hands were covered in flour and eggs, so I asked Sis, my 16-year-old female sister, to answer my phone and put it on speaker, believing, falsely, we were about to have a calm adult talk. Sam blew up. For about 30 minutes, Sam just yelled about how, 1, there were more accusations of being homophobic/transphobic. 2, accused me of calling him crazy. 3, called me a robot. This one hurt the most, so as it sounds, because I am on the autism spectrum and have a hard time understanding/expressing emotions in general, which I am very sensitive about. 4, it said he never moved into any of the apartments I suggested because they were trashy and wondered why he just couldn't stay with me. I tried to explain about my little brother again, only to be told, and I quote, "Why are you worried about that brat? He isn't your kid. Just forget about him right now." I would have punched my phone. Then Sam hung up again, and it was my sister's turn to blow up. Sis is bisexual and has never really liked Sam, though I never knew why until now. Sis was angry that Sam would say those things when I and our family have done nothing but support him. She said that throughout our years of friendship, it has always been me supporting Sam and never been the other way around despite having my own issues. I tried to argue, but Sis reminded me that after I had extensive eye surgery in high school to hopefully prevent me from going blind before 30, Sam couldn't be bothered to drop off my schoolwork or drive me to a checkup when no one else was available. She compared that to when I had to leave an important dinner to pick up drunk Sam from a gay bar, or when Sam got angry when I decided my older brother's wedding was more important than going to a LGBT plus event on our college campus with him. Honestly, this has given me a lot to think about. Sam was an important friend to me. I obviously want the best for him, and am hoping this is all just stress from the current global situation boiling over or something. But Sis is right in that Sam has spent years expecting to be my number one priority and using me as an emotional crutch. I'm going to give things a few days and see how they turn out. Any thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Your parents shouldn't have had 6 kids. They weren't able to keep up with you guys for that. You ended up with a leech, a parasite at an early age, and it festered for years. You both grew up together, and he continued to leech off you. And you, a child, not knowing what is normal, existed with it all the way until adulthood, when you are going for your doctorates soon, currently. You are in your 20s at this point. His behavior would have got him punched by me. I would have washed my hands off of flour and eggs. I would have drove to him, and I would have beat the brakes off of him. They tell me not to give a fuck about my immunocompromised family. They're less important than the bullshit you got going on. Because at this point, the way you're acting, your concerns are bullshit. It could be life or death. But you're treating me and my family like shit. Therefore, you have been downgraded to hell. The shit that you have going on means nothing to me now. We got to run the fade. I got to crack your head open and see what's going on inside of your noggin to see if something's wrong. But again, the parents are at fault. They would have seen this little parasite latch on to her. Then they would have been able to do some good child rearing, some education. to to help OP see the bullshit that's going on, to talk her into standing up for herself and to being her own person rather than being an emotional plushie, an emotional support animal for this guy. But the realities are, it doesn't matter what ethnicity, nationality, race, gender, sexuality you are. There are going to be good people and bad people. In every single group, there are going to be good people and bad people. All right. And just because somebody's going through something doesn't mean you should treat them well when they are treating you poorly. Right? That turn the other cheek shit, chuck that out the window. Always be a good person shit, chuck that shit out the window. Turn the other cheek to dodge an oncoming blow, right? And be a nice person to yourself by being mean to someone who's being mean to you. Because someone's mistreating you and you're allowing that to happen, you're not being a good person to yourself. This update only got 2 comments, none by OP. So we'll read them both. The top one is by a deleted user. Personally, I think your sister is right. That really does not sound like healthy. And it sounds like Sam has a lot of things he needs to work on, through, and learn. I've had friends who've been in similar places where it was necessary for us to cut ties. And when I've done so, I've always made it clear that if things change, I'm happy to try again. I don't think Sam is going to change for a while, though. So wish him the best and tell him good luck. There are going to be people who come into your lives who are users. You're not going to recognize that they're using you. But if you have people who bring things to your attention, and you're like, nah. You just need to second guess your quick response. You need to really sit and think about it. Take yourself outside of this situation. Imagine it was someone else and see. Would you give advice to that person that things are okay? Would you say that's fine? All right. I have been used in the past by people before, and like the earliest instance of it, my mom recognized it. And I was like, nah. And that relationship like crashed and burned. It fucked me over. Fucked my whole head up. Right. I had another situation where it was just like, bruh. We were so entirely close. I bought your kid his first car seat. Right. It was me and your father, the first 2 people to buy you something, to buy your kid something, your firstborn son. Right. And that relationship is non-existent now. He was a user. He would use people as stepping stones, stepping blocks to get ahead in life. He did whatever he had to. Right. And I didn't recognize those behaviors. Right. And then that's on me. Early on, I was a teenager. I'm in my late 20s. Right. I'm 31 now. This is recent, the past couple of years, where this took place. And then it's hard to recognize the negative things that are happening when they're mixed in with like good times, normal times, positive memories, normal memories, negative events that happen that they may not be the cause of. Right. You may even be happy. Right. I'm a person where I am happy to help people. If I have the time, if I have the money, I will give both of those things. If I have the energy, if I have the strength, I will give both of those things. Right. I will give them. Like it's nothing. Right. Somewhere along the line, my parents did very well, and I am an altruistic person. I had to learn what the fuck that was this year. I help people just cause. Right. It doesn't need to be a reason to help people. There can be plenty of reasons to not help a motherfucker. And those are things to learn. Those are definitely things to learn. But noblesse oblige. Noblesse oblige. Am I saying it right or wrong? It's Latin. Those in a position of power should help those who are less fortunate, those who have less. If you have more, you should help those who have less, right? It is your responsibility, You as a person who has more. It is your right. Because you were able to get more, you should help those who have less. Bring all those up who have less to the same level as you. Otherwise, I'm going to snatch that shit from your ass. Let's read this other comment. Disastrous Bobcat 5. Sam sounds entitled, and when his family drops him on his ass, it'll be one hell of a rude awakening. I feel for his struggles, though. I could never personally understand it, but he doesn't sound like a good friend. Friendships are 50-50 effort. It's exhausting to be the person who drops everything to support and cherish someone who won't give you that same energy back when it counts. Don't contact him again, and don't apologize. Don't let the rose-colored glasses slip back on your face. Sam owes you an apology, and he needs to figure shit out on his own since he clearly isn't wanting any help. Spitting. I like it. That's it. I can make things more complicated, but that's it. We're over in r/best Redditor updates, a place that I never really visit like that, with a post by Boring History Fan that was originally on Ask a Manager. Completely different site from Reddit. I was blown by this, that this is even over here, but it's a fire story. HR won't do anything about a coworker who's angry about my weight loss. I just came back to work after a month-long emergency medical leave. The TLDR is that after a decade of medical gaslighting, a new doctor ordered an emergency MRI during a routine visit and discovered a mass in my abdomen. I was rushed into surgery within 24 hours. I ended up having an 18-pound benign tumor pressing on my vital organs, and I was about a week away from multiple organ failure. I'm lucky to be alive, and time will tell if I have any lasting organ damage, but right now, everything is fine. Mentally, I'm struggling with a few things, but only outwardly noticeable impact is that I've gone from a size 20 to a size 8. I was expecting to get a lot of questions from my coworkers because curiosity exists. I had a basic emergency surgery, but I'm fine now. Answer that almost everyone accepted, but one coworker who I hardly speak to, Aubrey. On my first day back to work, Aubrey came up to me and said, I wish you had come to me to lose the weight instead of resorting to such drastic measures. You're going to gain it all back, you know. I'll be waiting. I was aware of Aubrey's reputation, but since we never worked together, I didn't think it would be an issue. She's one of those people who think they're a fitness expert and call herself a health coach. Nothing to do with the company we work for. She has a reputation for giving out unsolicited and incorrect health advice and is always commenting on people's food choices. I was speechless when she asked why I opted to get butchered instead of putting in the hard work to lose the weight. There's nothing wrong with someone choosing surgical weight loss options, but that's not what happened to me, and I really resented her aggressive attitude / spreading rumors. During my second week back, she came by my office at the end of the day in athletic gear, offering to go with me if I was too afraid to go to the gym alone. Yo, bitch. At the time, I wasn't even cleared to lift my kid, do laundry, or climb a flight of stairs, let alone go to the gym with this crackpot. I don't remember what I said to her, but she left saying I gained the weight back because I'm lazy. The next day, Aubrey ranted angrily about me in a meeting that I wasn't in. Missed it for a follow-up, ironically. I don't know everything that was said, but the gist of it was that I can't dedicate myself to weight loss. Obviously, I can't see my work obligations through. HR called for a red flag mediation. At our company, mediation can go against your bonus opportunities for the year. I have no idea why I'm in mediation when she's the one being an asshat. At the mediation, Aubrey stated that she was triggered by my new body. And I should have thought of other people's feelings and warned her before my surgery. I hardly had time to warn my husband and get my kid out of daycare. I don't owe Aubrey anything. I have empathy that she's obviously struggling, but that does not excuse her behavior. HR said that while they can't ask me to explain my medical history, it might clear the air if I told her what kind of surgery I had and why. I said I wasn't obligated to share my medical information with anyone, and that Aubrey having bad coping skills doesn't entitle her to a coworker's personal health information. Their response was kind of, well, we can't stop her from bullying you then. After Thanksgiving, my doctor helped me put in an ADA accommodation paperwork so I could work from home. I was having some mild complications from surgery, but also to avoid Aubrey. This company hates remote work, so they're really not happy. Aubrey still emails me about workout videos and diet plans, and when I forward them to HR, their response is, noted. Do you know when you're coming back to the office? I'd set the whole fucking building on fire. I've been thinking about escalating this to corporate with an employment lawyer. Is that overkill? I'm still in a sensitive place after my surgery, and I have no energy for this, especially since Aubrey is fixated on weight loss, which was the primary way doctors gaslit me for years. I've been with this company for 5 years, and I'm just exhausted and disappointed in how they're handling this, and I want it over yesterday. Since this is Investor Editor updates, it's story after update after update after update, right? And since this was originally posted on a completely different website, Ask a Manager, we don't have any comments. So we're just going to push all the way through. Now remember, doctors don't care about women. They get paid 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% more to take care of men in all medical situations. They do not care about you. Truly find a doctor who will listen to you, do everything you tell them, you ask them, and will advocate for you. If they don't, make sure that is marked in their medical records. Make sure you review them online and you get a different doctor. And you let them know that they're a piece of shit. And if you run into an issue like this where you almost die, put the doctor on blast, put the hospital on blast. Tag, name drop every single person who's a part of the upper management who are public facing. Get that bitch fired. These people disgust me. They don't care about humans. Updates. All I have to say for this update is hold on to your banana pants. I saw a lot of comments asking where management was in all of this, so I'll address that first. My boss, George, was getting ready to retire while this was going on. George is roughly my grandfather's age, so this entire situation bewildered both him and his replacement, who was training at the time. Both of them met with Aubrey's boss because, believe me, I was documenting everything she did from the jump, and they all assured me that Aubrey would be dealt with. None of them recommended the red flag mediation. That was HR's idea. I was given details of the meeting where Aubrey ranted about me, and it was horrible. But apparently Aubrey was asked to leave by her own boss while several other employees told her to stop. So managerially and in office, in general, people were trying to rein her in from many different angles. HR is where the ball dropped and was dropped hard. This company just has a poor HR structure and bad entry to mid-level HR. When Aubrey's boss referred her to HR regarding her negative behavior, HR took it upon themselves to consider it a mediation situation, which, remember, at our company can go against your bonus for the year. Despite communication from George, his replacement, and Aubrey's boss saying I wasn't in the wrong. When George found out about this, he spoke to HR's generalist manager, who said that my absence probably caused a lot of strain and extra work for Aubrey. When Aubrey's not even credentialed to do what I do. Management made a point to tell me how baffled and upset they were with HR's handling of the situation every time something came up. My company mentor was also a huge support during this time until she decided to take another job elsewhere. She saw the forest for the trees and got the fuck on. When my doctor extended my ADA work from home accommodations the second time, HR responded by telling me my attendance was a concern. I emailed their boss's boss, the HR director, and asked for a clarification. He said I hadn't come into the office, so of course my attendance was a concern. I reiterated I had a medical documentation stating that if work from home wasn't available, then they could refer to FMLA documentation my medical team also sent. He replied that medical documentation, including both FMLA and ADA reasonable accommodations, doesn't hold much weight with the company. That's when I got a lawyer. Aubrey, as a problem, kind of drifted to the background when HR started their medical documentation doesn't matter campaign. On my lawyer's recommendation, I contacted the HR executive team, which is where this whole cursed situation came to light. And I did check with my lawyer about emailing this update, and they laughed and said I couldn't leave people hanging after all that. I called the chief HR officer, which for my company is going over like 5 people's heads, but I did it with George's and my new boss's blessing, who is the head of HR, and asked why my attendance was an issue when I had reasonable ADA documentation. She had no idea what I was talking about, so I filled her in on all of it, including the mediation meeting and Aubrey's harassment and the HR director, her direct report, saying medical documentation didn't hold any weight with the company. You dumb bitch leaving email trails. I'm taking your job. She was speechless, and she asked to meet with me and my lawyer as soon as possible. My lawyer hardly had anything to do during the meeting because the CHRO, Chief HR, the Chief Human Resource Officer, this is a silly ass acronym, was horrified at everything I told her. I've never actually seen steam come out of someone's ears, but if it was physically possible, it would have happened here. My lawyer didn't need to say a word, but just nodded and smiled when the CHRO offered an extended paid medical leave so I could handle my recovery, and said Aubrey constantly sending me fitness plans would be dealt with swiftly. I didn't hear anything out of Aubrey for a long time, but I did hear through some gossip channels that the HR staff involved in this red flag mediation / threatening to write me up were let go. Aubrey wasn't fired because they believed she was misled by HR. So I understand that even if I don't agree with it, but she was on a tight PIP for a while. And then she showed up at my house. Now, we moved from banana pants to full-on banana ensemble. I'm still on leave, and out of the blue, Aubrey showed up at my door on a weekend with 2 other women in tow, and the commenters guessed it. She's in very deep with a MLM. Oh, the Colts are back. Ooh, Aubrey came over to demonstrate some workout techniques and give me some diet supplement samples and discuss a career opportunity because she was worried about my physical and professional health. She didn't make it past my mother-in-law, who has been a godsend right now. My mother-in-law made it clear where Aubrey could stick her demonstration, and they left in a hurry. I notified my lawyer and the chief human resource officer, and suffice to say, Aubrey is now a full-time wellness coach. I'm happy I went with my gut and got a lawyer because the company has changed so drastically over the last year, with a toxic HR department encouraging behavior like Aubrey's and spreading false information about medical leave and time off. The company is almost unrecognizable. Also, with my boss and mentor both gone. Oh yeah, that's George. George is gone. He's retired. I don't know if I'm going to go back once I'm medically cleared. The company is also undergoing a restructuring right now, and my department may end up distributed between other parts of the company or even other parts of the state. I've been looking at jobs and doing some resume drafting for a full-time remote position since it feels like it might be a better fit. But many thanks to the comment section and all the support. Ooh. I would have burnt the building down. Final updates. I got an offer from a local company that's going fully remote with administration and management meeting up once a month. The salary was right. It's 90% remote and it's a good fit, so I'm happy with it. My role is HR adjacent as head of payroll. I report to the COO, ooh, big things, and was hired by the CEO and COO. Tough. I walk into our first admin meeting, and who was sitting across from me but the HR director who told me medical documentation doesn't matter and orchestrated my whole red flag meeting? Let's call him Bob. Bob is the interim HR director for this company. Bob looked very uncomfortable when he saw me. We went through some employee files, including several who are on maternity leave and 2 who were injured on a job site. Bob got quieter as we began reviewing medical documentation and approving paid leave. I smiled and looked him in the eye every time I asked, "And does Jill have her medical documentation?" "Great. Medical documentation holds a lot of weight. That's important stuff to have." He looked like he wanted to melt into a seat. At one point, he tried to argue against someone using their PTO to provide end-of-care life for a parent when they had ample PTO. I smiled and said, "You're right. Our employee support fund should cover half this time. It's a shame for them to have to lose all of their paid time off when they're obviously going to need it to heal and grieve over the next few months. Why don't you get me the paperwork for the support fund this afternoon? That's so generous." Everyone was happy and in agreement, and he looked like he swallowed a lemon. But everyone was like, "Oh my God, Bob, how thoughtful." He had to eat it so bad and got me the documentation an hour later. Bob can suck it. Bob is also only a contractor, so he'll be moving on soon anyway. Medically, I'm doing better and very happy to move on from where I was. Aubrey's been full on radio silence, which is perfect for me. Thanks, AAM team and commenters. Ask a Manager. Shout out to askamanager.com. Is it .com? .org, baby. .org. This story is originally all the way back from 2023. And I believe this is reader submitted, and you submit it in, and the people who run the site posted on your behalf. Yeah, I like this. Ask a Manager. We're going to have to spin back over there for another story or two in the future, or maybe a whole episode, right? Because, again, the way I would burn down this fucking building, I would need some real life advice that doesn't end up with me committing a felony. You come to my door with some random strangers trying to come inside of my house to help me work out, to give me a job opportunity. It's crazy. This is crazy shit. This is psycho shit. And then HR is on bullshit. Remember, HR is there for the company, not for the employees. HR is there for the company. If you are not a part of a union, you have no real protection at your job, right? Unless you are willing to put forth the effort and the upfront money for a lawyer and to go to your state and to file directly with whatever agency that works through your state for issues where you're harassed or you're harmed on the workplace, you're kind of ass out. And so always be pro-union. And if you suck, join your union and make it better. All right. No comments from this one because it's on Reddit. It's not on Ask a Manager. right? And of course, since it was user submitted and posted by another person, that person can't leave any comments either. We have the final update, the final resolution, and Bob's a bitch. Thank you for listening to the Intelligent Idiots podcast. I have been your host, Mr. Eyes on 10. You beautiful, intelligent people, and you idiotic need to be educated. You poorly trained, need to be educated, idiotic people. Fuck, how does my catchphrase go? I want you to have a beautiful day, night, week, month, and year. And hey, subscribe to the Patreon if I get my life together. Thanks. Oh, shit. What's wrong with me?